You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation collecting sets. Come on, won't you stay with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world. They'll show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Gonna talk to guests, only got the best. Gonna put their knowledge to the test. Gonna laugh at memes, gonna live the dream. Gonna show you things you've never seen. Gonna sing a song to the break of dawn. Gonna rock this party all night long. So come on everybody, let me see you dance. Get yourself ready for one more chance. You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation collecting sets. Come on, won't you stay with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world. They'll show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
We did it. We're only
Hey,
15 minutes late. Hey, guys.
welcome to the PlayStation Collectors Podcast. This is Season 3, Episode number 12. And tonight we've got Beliskner, me, Figsy, and we've got Joe. Welcome.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, Beliskner. It's been a while, man. How are you doing?
You actually have to give me a second. I have like audio delay issues.
No problem.
Alright. How are you going tonight, Joe?
Pretty good, man. Well, it's not tonight for me. It's like freaking the ass crack of morning, but yeah, it's going pretty good.
I'm used to just saying this evening when I do my morning shows, I just say, how's it going tonight, everyone? Because it's not for you guys, so I just keep it at that for every show.
Yeah, let's just say that. It's cool. I mean, yeah, it's pretty good, man. Been a weird winter over here. We have gotten no snow, like none.
Interesting.
It's been very strange. I mean, I kind of like it because I'm a lazy person who doesn't like to shovel snow, but at the same time, it feels like we didn't really have a winter.
That's interesting because Europe right now are copping like some of the strongest winter storms they've had in like 20, 25 years. So maybe they just send all the snow to Europe instead.
I mean, I'm a butt scientist, which means I pull all my science out of my butt. But I think it has something to do with El Nino, I've been told, or something. Just some sort of whirlpool of temperatures in the ocean that does something to the thing. I don't freaking know, dude. You figure it out.
Exactly. Water and water move between the oceans. It's like the Atlantic Ocean in Europe and North America. We have it in Australia, the Pacific, and Australia.
I think it's the Pacific. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's off the coast of South America or something. I don't know. I've literally heard about it since I was a little kid. You figured I'd know these things, but no. I dedicated my life to a more noble task, which is memorizing stupid crap about video games. Much more important. And more of a benefit for society overall. Has that bell any better?
Yeah, I should be good now.
Sweet.
I had like a weird doubling of the audio, like 2 audio tracks, and one of them was like 5 seconds delayed. It was really disorienting. And I have no idea where it came from.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes. Audio is a pain in the butt.
When I start the show, I then have to like mute everything because there's like a slight echo. It's the worst. It's like when you do streaming or anything, as always. When there's that echo, it just ruins things.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, what does your name mean, if you don't mind me asking, Belle?
I yoinked it from Stargate. It's the name of Thor's spaceship.
Okay, cool. Dude, Stargate's dope.
Yep.
I like that.
And that name originally, it's like an it's like a different wording of an actual word that is used in Norse mythology as well. It's like the name of Thor's palace, I believe.
Badass, dude.
But the actual name is like slightly different.
That makes a lot of sense too, because every time I go to look your YouTube channel up, all these like Was it Star Trek?
Stargate.
Was it Star Trek? Stargate. All these Stargate videos pop up, and I'm like, I'm gonna type in PS3.
Oh yeah. If you look like for Beliskner on YouTube, you will find like Stargate clips.
Makes sense. Yeah, this is a really, really nice box set of like the entire Stargate TV series, like all the shows in one. And I've been eyeballing that for a while, but I'm like, oh, it's kind of how I feel about anime, where I'm like, damn, dude, am I gonna watch that though? That's a lot. I'm gonna sit down and watch 1,000 episodes. Whatever.
That's something that I've bought and resold like 3 or 4 times at this point, Joe. It shows up. If you keep your eyes out for that stuff, it definitely shows up.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worth it. Like, I think I've watched through the entirety of Stargate 4 times, maybe. And then some episodes I've literally watched dozens of times. It's definitely worth it. Like, the first season is kind of slow, but after that, it's just straight fire.
The first season, I remember watching it, and it's like all the alien planets look like the Pacific Northwest.
Well, that might be because all of it was shot like near Vancouver. So
yeah, exactly. Like you can tell. I'm like, this is just Canada. Kind of freaking alien place is that?
Yeah, they've gotten a little bit better like over the years, trying to mix it up, but in general, the look more or less stays the same.
Yeah. I mean, back then, like, you gotta imagine too, like those Stargate, what was that on Sci-Fi Channel? Like, they didn't have big budgets for their shows. Like, that
no, not at all.
Network. So, but I used to watch Stargate and Babylon 5 and Battlestar. Farscape. I watched a little Farscape, but I never watched enough of it to know what the hell was going on. Babylon 5 had a similar problem. I'd always watch it and be like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, Babylon 5 is like even worse in that regard than Farscape. Like, if you miss an episode of Babylon 5, you just like you won't notice it until like 2 seasons after, when it actually comes up again, and then you're just completely lost.
Yep, good stuff though. I love sci-fi. It's like my favorite. You like sci-fi, Figsy? You a big nerd like me?
I can't say I do. I've had all these series from reselling and things like that, but I've never really got into watching any of them. So
Star Trek is my big one. I've always been a huge Trekkie fan, Trek guy. So I like the original series, obviously, and then I was huge into Next Generation when I was a kid, like absolutely obsessed. I used to like, I have like a card collection. I used to collect the comic books. I used to go to conventions, all that shit. Like, I loved Star Trek: The Next Generation. I remember my stepmother, where she worked, she like printed out like, I don't even know what it was, like and it was almost like a Wikipedia page about Star Trek, but this was like in the 90s before Wikipedia existed. So it was like some fan page that just had like everything you would ever want to know about Star Trek, like schematics for the ships and all this crazy stuff about all the plots and every episode. It was just insane. She printed up this huge thing, and I just sat there and read it for like weeks. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was now I remember like nothing. I remember like absolutely nothing, and I haven't watched Star Trek in years. I stopped watching it during Voyager. It was my like the last show that I enjoyed. I liked Deep Space Nine and I liked Voyager, and then that was it. I never got back into it.
Like, honestly, like the Enterprise show from the early 2000s was actually pretty decent. It just never got like the same chance that the other shows got.
Yeah, it was only like 2 seasons, something like that.
4.
Oh, did it get 4 seasons? Goddamn.
Yep.
Yeah, my dad watched it. He liked it a lot, but I never got into it. And I was, but he did say that was excellent. But it was like a different vibe, obviously, because.
Yeah, it's very different. It's very 2000s. Like, you can feel like the modern flair that show has.
Yeah, and then I've heard the new Star Trek is terrible. Although I've heard the Picard season where they got all the Next Generation people back is pretty good. So I might watch that one season just because it's like gonna hit me right in the feels. I just know it will. You know it. I mean, it's got all the cast that you want to see all back together, the old crew on the, with their walkers and their freaking IVs. The only one that looks good still is Data. He's a fucking robot. He's like, "What up? How you guys all doing? Come on."
Well, I think like canonically, like during that time, isn't the life expectancy of humans like 130 years or something?
That would make sense.
So
that would make sense if you think about it.
It still works.
Yeah. Sorry, this has gone off the rails already. How you doing, Figgy?
I'm curious if they're still making Star Trek today. Like, they obviously are, right?
Yes, they are on Peacock, I'm gonna say it's on it's on a streaming service. But like I don't know. I've heard it's terrible, so I just never bothered to get into it. I
Same.
heard so first and foremost, I heard they swear now, which I'm just sorry, but that's not Star Trek. I don't want to watch that. I'm good. I know that sounds crazy. I felt the same way when I played Final Fantasy 16. I'm like, why are there so many F-bombs in this game? Like, what is happening? Why is this like this? Like, it really is disturbing. It's like so off-putting from what type of game it is. Same thing with Star Trek. Like, I don't know. Fantasy, I don't know. I feel like Game of Thrones like ruined fantasy. Everyone's like, people want it to be raw and realism. Like, people like Game of Thrones. And it's cool. It is. But like, no, I still like Star Trek and Lord of the Rings and stuff that's kind of classy that doesn't do that. Call me crazy.
It definitely worked without, so I don't see the point why they would add it.
I don't know. I swear all the time too, so I'm not saying like I'm above it. I'm just saying like it's not.
Yeah, same.
It'd be like watching Sesame Street, and all of a sudden they're like, "Fuck this shit, Big Bird." You're like, "Whoa, this doesn't seem right."
I mean,
at all.
that would be kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
Star Trek as directed by Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, actually, I would get down with that. That'd actually be really freaking cool. I wouldn't mind like some like weird like alternate timeline type stuff. Like I don't know, like that. That'd be
You'd have to like watch it backwards to understand the story, and it wouldn't be in chronological order.
Oh, like Crusade,
no,
the Babylon spin-off show.
I don't want to watch nothing backwards. You ever see that movie Memento, where like the whole movie starts at the end and goes to the beginning? You ever see that?
I haven't,
movie?
but I heard of it. Yeah. Isn't that the first Christopher Nolan like big
was
film?
It? Could have been.
I think so.
That would make sense. I mean, I don't know, but that would make a lot of sense to me because it's it's narratively like impossible to understand what the hell's happening in that movie.
maybe it was David Fincher. I'm not sure, but I think it was Christopher Nolan.
Anyone in the chat know? Someone want to let us know? So whatever. Yeah, see this guy knows. He says it's Star Trek in name only. Yeah, I've heard it's just like, for the kids these days. So anytime I've heard they want to remake something for a modern audience, it's going to suck. Because apparently whoever the modern audience is, you guys are idiots. You guys suck. You have terrible taste. You like dog shit. Because apparently everything made for you sucks. So I hope you enjoy your bowl of dog shit. I don't know who likes this stuff, but anytime I watch new stuff, I'm always just like, what the heck? You could tell, like, people, there's like a talent gap. Like, seriously, like, there's a skill gap, talent gap, competency gap, call it whatever you want. But, like, back in the day, people were good at writing. They were good. Like, the stories are like good. Like, we just watched that show ER. That show is so much better written. Like, the first, like, few, not like season 15 and shit like that, but I'm talking like the first, like, 5-6 seasons. So much better the writing on that show than like almost anything I see on TV or Netflix or anything. So much more clever and well structured and has a meaningful plot, and the stories move, and like, I don't know, like, it is just the way the story is built is so much more competent than what you get now, where it's just a bunch of disjointed, poorly timed, like poorly like the pacing doesn't make sense on a lot of stuff. It's just like one scene to another. Like, you ever watch a show or a movie where it just cuts from one thing to another, like it has ADHD? I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, chill. Why is there just no talking? There's no like conversations.
Like TikTok feed where it's just scrolling through. It's just trying to get the modern audience.
It's just
these people have attention spans of 10 seconds. We better show them a new scene every 10 seconds, otherwise they'll stop watching. Have you ever scrolled through videos and a video pops up and half the screen is the video you're watching and the bottom half of the screen is like a Grand Theft Auto clip of a car rolling down a hill or something?
Oh, yeah. On the shorts pages, yeah.
Yeah, or a Temple Run clip or something like that. It's literally because people's attention spans can't sit there for the whole minute, so they have to put that other thing in there to get people to watch it.
Yeah. That is true.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of things made for modern audiences, what do you guys think of the new Apple Pro that got released this week?
The goggles?
Apple Vision Pro, yeah.
I've heard there are problems. That's the only thing I heard about it.
My first question is, I just don't understand where you're supposed to use these things. Like, I don't get it. Like, I've always even like, I have even like a thing with my Switch where I'm just like they always show on TV commercials and they're like, play Switch while you're in the office. Play Switch while you're at your girlfriend's house when everybody's eating dinner. Play Switch. I'm like, who would do that? Like, who the fuck is playing their Switch and all these? No, you shouldn't be doing that in public. You should be talking to those people and paying attention. What are you doing? Like, I play Switch on an airplane. Like, I was on a bus.
The only place in public where I use it, or the one time where I catch a train because it's after the airplane.
I don't even go like if I go to the doctor's office and I know I'm going to sit in that office for 30 minutes, I don't bring a Switch and I'm like, play Mario Kart. I would just feel weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
I think originally those goggles were like meant for AR work, where like, for example, architects, they could like see like visual 3D models like in their environment and like work directly with those 3D models.
Sure. Oh yeah, or like
I've seen an ad
surgeons.
for a surgeon where he was
yeah, exactly.
it, and they had all these different things around, and he could look up, and it looked cool. But like, my idea of having something like that would be to use it in an office only. And you go into the office, and suddenly you put it on, and you've got 10 screens around you, and different things like that. But it's definitely something that, if for one, I wouldn't want Apple in my head because of how restricted Apple is. I would wait for the Windows version to come out, the Microsoft version or something, you know. But yeah, it just feels like it's really early technology, and they haven't fully grasped the whole, like, when the iPod came out, it replaced the MP3 player. You know, when the iPhone came out, it replaced the smartphone. Like, what's the audience of people who are actually like, oh, that's the device for me because I already do this. Like, it's even people like Joe uses VR. He's not going out getting a Vision Pro, so they're obviously not going after the VR audience. Mike just brought up a point. They block the ability to watch porn, which makes sense because they're Apple, but that's also going to stop a lot of people getting it. So there's another audience that you're just blocking out. So, like, who are the people that are buying this apart from people that just have lots of money and don't really care, you know, making YouTube videos from the content that they use?
Well, it's definitely a flex. It's definitely a flex right now to have one.
Yeah, same as VR was when it first came out.
I just, it's one of those things where, like, I don't see what the actual purposeful function of the damn thing is. I as a mobile, if it's intended for mobile use, I just find that bizarre, because why would you want to walk around with a freaking helmet on like that? To me, it looks ridiculous. So maybe, you know, if it gets to the point where it is just like a small, like a monocle or something, like one thing you wear, or like what, you know,
it has to look
more like
like
Dragon Ball Z,
glasses.
you know, like, you know, Vegeta's thing, like that little thing. Power level over 9,000.
I think even that would look silly. I think it has to look like actual glasses. Otherwise, it's just gonna look
silly.
crazy.
Remember the Bluetooth headsets everybody wore for a while?
So, let's assume that they're intended to be used at like a computer desk. Is the intention to be used like 8 hours a day, 7 days a week? Is that going to do serious damage to you, like having that on all the time?
And even if it is intended for non-mobile use, you could do everything that it does with a much cooler piece of technology. Like, they can make. Have you seen the glass screens they have, like the see-through screens and stuff? They have stuff like that already. Just like a giant curved monitor that has like the ability to move screens all around it, and you can just go and touch it, and that would be fine. You don't need to wear it on your head. The only reason that would be to wear it on your head is if you want to wear it 24/7 and it's like out in public, and, you know, like you're at the grocery store and you're looking at, you know, some food, and it goes boop boop boop, this is cheaper at Walmart, and it pops up and tells you like information like that. That's there are uses where I could see it being like useful, but it looks ridiculous. And what's the battery life on it? How long can it possibly last? Is it going to last you all day?
Does it heat up? Like, so many questions. And it's also got a cord too, which, you know, can get stuck on things. People can rip it out. Like, you know, I'd assume it's 2024. You'd make a cordless version, right? You got cordless headphones and cordless controllers and cordless everything else. It's probably running into a battery pack or something, you know, but still. Like,
but, you know, do you guys have multiple monitors on your computers?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you sit there and watch 17 different things at the same time? Do you do that? Do you watch like a YouTube video and a TikTok video and another video? Do you put all different 10 things on your monitors and like you can't and like
I
don't
usually
watch
have
12
a
things
video
at
in, like,
once?
a Twitch
You can't even
stream,
focus. Why would you do that?
I only do that when the Olympics are on, and there's like 6 or 7 different streams with
Sure.
different stuff. Then I
Okay.
have all of those open.
Or
yes.
sports. I could see that. Like I know
Yeah, I do it for
Sundays, they
sport
watch-
games. I already have multiple games playing at once and things like that. And
Okay.
you're watching one, but if there's a goal in another, I look to another screen. And
That's fair. I'm just trying to think of like actual uses for the damn thing, like for $4,000. That like, I don't know. I know. I'm an old timer, I guess. It stuff like this will inevitably happen. Like AR, it will be a thing. Like voluntarily or not. Like eventually there'll be like holographic projectors where you just walk around and there'll be shit you don't want to see, like just popping up everywhere. Like the future is like you won't own a TV or anything. Like your walls will be your TV. Like your whole house will just be a screen. Like you know what I mean? Like everything will be. There'll be like physical devices will go away. It'll all just be digital in the future. Like everything, in my opinion. So, like you won't need a controller. You won't need a controller. You don't need you won't need a controller. You'll turn on a game and there'll be sensors in your room and it'll just be like, all right, move your hands. And your shit will just happen. You could just play. Like I'm telling you, like there will be like no physical interfaces. They won't need to be. We started talking about sci-fi earlier. Now I'm gonna go on my little the future.
Joe's already playing Beat Saber in his dreams, guys.
I could make the obvious joke, but I'm not gonna. Yes, I do play Beat Saber in my dreams. But that's what we want. I want an Apple Pro so I could play Beat Saber on the bus. So that'll be cool. People just be sitting there and I'll be like, get out of my way.
No sound. Oh my god.
No, I'll beat
people can't hear you and you just
yeah, exactly.
New high school, come on!
So that's how people already look now. They're weird as fuck walking around like everyone's like, okay. But like I said, it's the same. Like I said, the Bluetooth headsets. You remember that was like a thing? Do you guys remember when that was actually popular? Like people were always doing that. Okay. So yeah, for a while, everybody was like, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. And they're great, blah, blah, blah. But then everybody realized, number one, you look like a douche. And number two, you're talking to yourself. No one can hear the other end of the conversation and people can hear you talk. And it's awkward and weird. And so people stopped doing it because it was weird. It's like, people, when someone's like, yeah. And you look over, you're like, you talking to me? They're like, it's like, okay, well then have your conversation by yourself. Hold your phone up to your ear and like, you know what I mean? Like indicate that. Like, it's just like, I don't know, human like biology and human like social interactions, I think do trump that shit. Like technology wants to like change us and sometimes it won't. It won't. You know what I mean? And also you got to remember too that like anytime something comes out, the first thing that human beings will do with it is try to use it the wrong way or use it for porn or use it for criminal enterprise. So be prepared for it always too.
Yeah, I feel like we're seeing clips right now of people using it in weird ways. I feel like in the future we're going to see these clips resurface. Look at these weirdos in 2024 using this thing that they thought was going to be the future.
People will use it to rob people. If like what if they can scan you and find out who you are with that stupid helmet and like pull up your social media and be like, oh look, he has a house on the beach in Malibu and a nice car. Let's go rob him. And then they scan me and it's like, oh, this dude just collects video games. What a loser. They're gonna go for the guy with the money. You know what I mean? So it's like things always get used badly. Or like, what if people can record everything that happens now and just stand behind you at the ATM and record that shit and just be like, whoop. Well, I got your password later, and you don't even know it because all they have to do is look at you. Like people, like I don't know, it's gonna be used for bad things too. Like technology always has like a double-edged sword to it. So I don't know.
I'm surprised something like the Google Glasses never took up because it's a very similar concept, but it seems like it's a more discreet type of way of wearing things because it's just a pair of glasses. It doesn't look like you're wearing a fucking helmet on your head from Mars,
Well, back then, people used to call those people glass holes, the ones who would wear them. If you wore Google Glasses, they called you a glass hole. And back then, people were more sensitive about their privacy still. They didn't like the idea of you filming them all the time. And so, like, if you were at a bar drinking and someone was wearing those glasses, you'd be like, dude, I want you filming, everything that happens here. And so, I don't know. Do people still care about their privacy? Do people still care about the fact that, or is everyone just resigned themselves that we're always being recorded all the time, which we pretty much are? So, I don't know.
And
so
if
I feel like that's why it didn't work before.
And if you say you don't like being recorded, well, guess what? Like our phones are recording our conversations right now, whether we like it or not, and different things like that.
Yeah, that shit's fucked up, man. The Internet of Things, they call it. You guys want to talk about video games?
Oh yeah, this is a video game podcast. What have you been up to in the collecting scene lately, Beliskner? How's the NES collection going along?
I'm making progress, but it's really slow, of course, because NES is just a real pain to go for, especially like in Europe. There's not nearly as much filler as there's in North America. Like you just can't get any game for less than €5, and you just don't find them anyway. Like you pretty much have to resort to online these days. It's too old, and it wasn't nearly as popular as it was in North America. So yeah,
It was
it's really slow.
the Master System was much more successful, I believe, in Europe.
Yeah, like the console wars started in Europe before they started in NA. Like Master System and NES were about like the same popularity in Europe.
That's pretty crazy. I had no idea, to be honest. It's before my time.
Yeah, like you probably honestly, like if you go to a flea market, you probably have a higher chance to find Master System games than NES games.
I believe it. And I feel like the overall, I mean, I don't know. Again, I'm pulling the statistic out of my butt, but I feel like the NES is still the most desirable collectible system. I feel like there's still more people collecting NES than anything else in my.
I think in Europe it's more Super Nintendo and Mega Drive. I think those are still more popular than the NES. Also because the NES is a bit confusing because the PAL region is split up into two separate regions, just for that console, which is kind of stupid. And as I said, it's just a kind of a pain and not as fun as something like Super Nintendo to collect for, because Super Nintendo and Mega Drive were so huge, you can actually find stuff.
Where it just makes sense because in the US the NES was huge and there was so many games available, and it's the first Nintendo system, and Nintendo is what most people grew up with, and so it just makes sense to go back to the first one.
Yeah, maybe also the gaming boom in general was maybe a bit delayed in Europe, and more people just started playing video games with the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive, and not necessarily with the NES and the Master System.
I think that actually is true because I think I don't know if it's not like that now, but I remember back in the day I felt there was always like a cultural gap between the United States and Europe. Like a lot of the stuff that would be popular here or get big here first would be more popular 5 or 10 years later down the line in Europe. Like even clothing and stuff like that, music and stuff like that.
Might be. I don't think music necessarily. I think pretty much all the music that was popular in the US and the UK was popular in Europe at the same time.
I have no idea. This is what my French teacher told me. Because I would be like, I remember we'd have French lessons and like we'd watch videos and stuff like that. And I'm like, this was in the 2000s. And I'm like, why all these people dress like it's 1996, 1997? What the fuck? And she's like, oh, it's a little different. The culture moves a little differently and there's different pace and blah, blah. I'm like, whatever you say.
I can relate to what you said. It felt like Australia was always a little bit behind the US. So then we caught up later on, things like that. Until the age of the internet, and then it was just
now it's
all
like
the same, unless it was like all right, we get it released next year because we're in this country and we have to wait.
But
I've noticed releases are usually universal these days. Even like the timing will come down to like everyone gets it at midnight on this country's time because that's where the developers are. Where back in the day, like games would get released in Japan and then 6 months later in North America and then a month later in PAL because they made the Japanese version first and then they translated it, and then shipping and everything, PAL gets it a little bit later and things like that.
That's like
that for a lot of Japanese games.
that's like that's like, especially in the 90s, like 80s and 90s, there was an extra delay probably because usually Japanese games, yes, they would get translated to English first, but they wouldn't necessarily get translated in any of the European languages, depending on how big the market is. Because translating a 30-hour-long RPG into, I don't know, Danish may not really be worth it for how big the market is. So they'd rather say, fuck it, we're not going to translate and we're not going to release the game there at all. But other
true.
territories, it's probably more worth it, like France, Germany, Spain. But that translation also takes a good while, even if you translate from English instead of Japanese.
Then it obviously just makes sense to take more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is with like every Dragon Quest game, and like even like Ys 10 has been out in Japan for a while, the Nordic game, where we're all just sitting there like, the translation done yet? Come on now, any day. The one that always killed me is that we never got that Dragon Quest Online game. Like they just never decided that it would be worth translating it because it was like a massive game. So
We never
that
got
always
Metal
bothered
Gear
me.
Solid Online. That was only in Japan, you know.
There's a lot of MMOs in Japan that never come out here.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Console MMOs though, not just PC. Like
Yeah. Dynasty Warriors
Monster
Online.
Quest and, yeah, so many. I wanted to bring up modern games and where you see this kind of thing with modern games, and in particular low print, like the limited run type games that have, you know, a low print release on the store. You definitely see a lot of limited run games being released as retail releases in the PAL region 2, 3, 4 years after it's getting a limited run release. So it's quite interesting to see a game that might be like $60 for years pop up in the game store and like it's being sold for $20 as retail price.
But that's a good thing. Rather have it late than never.
Yeah, 100%. I've got many games in my collection that, you know, I got the PAL version and there's the low print PS4 NTSC limited run games version, but you know, why would you get that when there's like a $5 version in the PAL region? It even happens in North America. You see games getting retail releases after they get their whole limited version.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it happens all the time. I think every strictly limited game gets a retail release, like every single one, which is one of the reasons I think they're struggling so much.
Yeah, well, the strictly limited's got some controversies at the moment. There's one guy on YouTube just made a video on like exposing strictly limited and things like that, and they do some dodgy stuff. And the wait times are getting longer, and what Joe just mentioned, for example, like other publishers might all get this game and find out, oh, it's 2024, right? So and so comes to you and says, we're gonna sell the game. It'll be ready in 2026, and that's when you'll get it. Strictly limited are like, sweet, we're going to put it up on our website tonight and start charging people money for it and announce it and everything. Meanwhile, these other companies aren't even thinking about the game because like they haven't started working on it. So they're taking people's money, and so the game gets a retail release and it's cheaper than what they would have sold it for, and you don't get it until like 6 months after everyone. So it's just like, why would I order from you again? Because I just seen this one game I really wanted on the shelves and I was waiting for it and I already paid for it. So I'm not going to buy it twice. It happened to me, and I don't buy many games from them. So I'm assuming it's happened to most people who buy games from them.
I still haven't gotten my my Raystorm games still. Like, you know, the Raystorm and Ray Crisis games that got released like months ago that have been out for months and multiple releases. I still have not gotten my strictly limited copies. And so what they do is they usually have extra content on their games that the regular retail releases don't get. So that's their shtick. So it's like the Wonder Boy collection, like their version had like 14 games and the retail version had whatever 8 or whatever the hell it was. I don't know the exact numbers, but like they always have like a beefed up version. And I've always I like ordering from them. I have tons of their stuff, and I've had no problems with them for years. Yeah, it's always been nice, and I've never had any issues. It's just lately I don't know what's going on, but like they've like held all orders. Like I haven't gotten pretty much anything from them. And they have lots of, I have like 14, 15 orders with them right now or something like that. I haven't gotten any of them. Like, it's getting to the point where I'm like getting a little hesitant. Like, I'm like, it's the same thing with First Press. I'm like, you just won't, I'm not giving you any more money. Like, once it becomes like, we'll get your stuff when we can, then you're getting no more money from me until I get my stuff. Like, when the tap's getting turned off, like, I'm not
First
giving
Press
you
games
more.
may as well be like a crypto scam at this point.
Yeah.
I had an epiphany the other night, and we'll do this in the future, Joe. I want to like rank a definitive list of the best to the worst game companies right now, like that publish PS4, Nintendo Switch, PS5 games. It'd be quite interesting because there's some really, really good ones, and there's some really fucking shitty ones out there. Well, we'll save that for when we run out of topics, guys. So that'll be coming soon.
Yeah, Cyrus was talking about dispatch games. They're like a straight up scam as far as I know. Like they took a bunch of people's monies and just never shipped games and like went out of business. Like if you give them money, I'm pretty sure you're screwed. And like there were like games that they had announced that like literally other companies picked up and put out because they never did it. So I don't know.
Is Dispatch the ones that did like $20 game?
Mm-mm.
I mentioned it to you a few months ago, and then you told me the name of it like later. I've forgotten it again.
I don't know. I remember I didn't buy that game. That was one of the things I didn't fall for.
I bought this game. It was like a year and a half now. And I told everyone on the podcast, like they announced it, and the way they announced it was games are already in hand, ready to ship out, and like you get your game within like 2 months or something, and it's like 2 years later.
Yeah, that one was really sus because like it was like $19.99 shit with the game shipped, and it was a Switch cart, brand new, and I was just like, that's too cheap. Like they would lose money. No one can make money on it. Like you can't sell a brand new Switch game for $19.99 with free shipping.
No, it didn't make sense. I don't know why I gave my money. Does anyone remember the name of this company? If I can look it up, and I'll follow it up and let you guys know what happened.
I'll look through our messages. Maybe it's still in there somewhere, but I don't remember. But like I said, I was like, nah, I don't buy this. It would be at least $30. Especially like a small low print company like that. Like, and it's not getting a retail release. You have to order it from them directly. I'm like, shipping alone. Like if you go to every one of these companies, like you have to pay for shipping. No one gives free shipping. Like I think Strictly Limited is actually doing a special for free shipping right now, but they don't ship anything. So
But that's a company that can actually afford to do it. They can afford to take a loss against another company because they're so big. You can't do that with a brand new company.
yeah,
I'm really glad I never really went down that rabbit hole. Like ever since the first ones, I never really bought any games from those companies. The only company like that I buy from is Red Art Games because one, they're really cheap, and they always deliver really fast. And I've never had problems with them. And I think even their pre-orders are only for like games that come out in like 2-3 months or something. They're not like years in advance. And I haven't heard of them ever like delaying releases either. So they seem like a very legit company.
Yeah, and the games look nice with slip covers, and they do a really good job. I haven't heard of many people, if any, talk about bad experiences with Red Art games. They even do well with their North American customers by like sending games to retailers in North America and letting you buy it directly so you can save on shipping and things like that. So it's pretty cool.
Their company's changed over the last couple of years big times because like Red Art for a long time, like they put out just like really obscure indie stuff, and it was like they would come out with a game like, I don't know, once every few months it felt like, and then like in the last year or two they have a ton of new releases. I feel like the quality of their games has gone up. Like they're getting cooler titles than they used to. Not that the old titles are not cool. I think I like old indie stuff. I'm all about that world. But like they're getting like bigger, better, like more shmups and like more action games and more like better looking Metroidvanias, like more high quality things. I don't know. And like now they're doing the deluxe editions, and they partner with VGP, and they do the ESRB releases, and like I don't know, they're kind of blowing up a little bit. I think they're doing well. But yeah, I think they're great. like I said, no problems or bad issues with them. I've never had any problems with them. They're good.
Yeah,
You guys
this
know
was
what's going on with Limited Rare Games? We're waiting on a few games from them at this point now.
What's up?
Limited Rare Games. We're still waiting on the mystery game that they announced. And wasn't there something else that we've paid for and they haven't shipped out?
I mean, I bought the mystery game, so I don't know when the hell that's happening. I don't know about if there was another title. Then maybe I missed it.
I can't remember at this point. It's been so long between releases.
I don't think there's anything else. They did Super Blood Hockey, and I think the other one. I think that was their. I don't think they have-
Anti-Square, and yeah, maybe we've got the rest of them. But there's definitely one we're still waiting for. I haven't heard anything about it. It's been 6 months. Like, you know, it's a long time to just take people's money and you still don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, but you know, with that company, honestly, like you can't be upset. Like they literally troll you on purpose. So if you get fucking, you know, I literally like you. I have no sympathy if you give them money and you don't get your game on time. And like, what did you expect? They don't care. Nobody cares. It's like they'll literally like send you their customer support is crybabies.com or something. It's like limited rare crybabies. Like that's their customer service email. So, you know, I almost like enjoy the troll. So I
kind of do as well. That's funny.
I don't really care, and I would never go and bitch at them because I know exactly what's gonna happen if you bitch at them. It's gonna laugh and make fun of you, and you'll be a meme. They don't give a shit.
You gotta respect the hustle, but also fuck you.
Sure.
They did a tweet one day and they said, like, what happens if we ordered a game, took your money, and just never shipped it out? And I replied, is it First Press Games did it first? And the account, the Twitter account, like reacted at my comments. That was kind of funny.
Yeah. Limited. What is it? Legacy? Limited Legacy? What are they called?
Yeah, well, they've just shipped out their game, so they're a real company now after trolling everyone for 12 months.
Yeah, they took some shots at First Press Games too. Like they literally said they're like, unlike First Press Games, we'll actually ship our game to you if you buy it. Like so I was like, yeah, that's right. Burn. Good. I like this. I like the drama.
Well, we know for a fact First Press aren't going to reply. They don't reply to people on the internet.
No, I just follow other people's comments about them now to find the updates, like you know, like what they said. Like people will post the email responses they get. It's the same shit that people have been getting for years. Well, we've come a long way, and we've got this place to make the things now, and we're just getting it all together, and we're gonna have it together soon, and we should be shipping in the summer to the next decade. Okay, all right. Like
next update in 2 months, guys.
Yeah, and then if you send them
copy
another thing, you'll get the same thing.
Date, change the date, post.
I don't know. I'm waiting to hear the people from Chained Echoes pull their game from them.
Well, I'm waiting to hear
I'd be embarrassed.
The German government have taken this company under and blah blah blah, and you know, because surely it's illegal what they're doing.
I don't think it is illegal.
At least it's questionable.
If you give them money and you pre-order and they say we'll give it to you when we give it to you, that's the contract that you entered in with the company. But
some of
the problem is if they won't refund you after a certain amount of time.
In some countries, those kinds of contracts are illegal.
Yeah.
Like you have to specify a date of delivery, otherwise the contract is just void.
Yep, and it should have like a time limit of like how long you have until you have to refund money. You know what I mean? Like if it's like, sure, okay, you can say that, but if you haven't delivered it within a year, you got to give everyone their money back, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. Shit like that happens. We have Kickstarter over here. And people just steal your money, no problem. Like, I don't know. It's very weird. Consumer protections aren't really that.
Maybe that's how they should release it. If I'm going to go down that road.
Well, it's all our own fault. So it's all our own FOMO. And we support all these bad business practices. So as long as consumers support bad business practices, it's our fault. It's the same reason why OnlyFans exists. It's not the women's fault. It's all the guys' fault. It's not their fault that you guys are idiots and you give them money. They're going to do that because you guys are idiots, and not you guys. I don't know why I'm speaking. All of you watching. I know it's you. No, I don't know why. It's not. I'm saying the people. They're the
You.
problem. It's not it's the women who do that aren't the problem. It's the men who give them money. They're the issue. If the market and the demand wasn't there, then they wouldn't be. It's the same reason I don't hate drug dealers. It's not like they don't like. People want their drugs. Nobody's, you know what I mean? Like, they're not forcing people to buy drugs. I know people may think that. They're like tricking kids, like going up to schoolyards, like, hey, kiddos, you want some drugs? That's not what drug dealers do. That's not what they do. They have adults who call them and they buy drugs on them because they want to. And like, you can hate them if you want, but there's a market for it. They're not the problem. It's the people who want all the fucking drugs. It's the people who demand the shit that creates the market for shit. So, like, you know.
Yeah, it's like anything. Like, why do you think we have dozens of gambling ads popping up all the time? Because these gambling companies make enough money from the gamblers to put all these ads out.
You know, when it comes to drugs and it comes to gambling, they are addictive. And so then it becomes a point of when people are addicted. That's a problem. But, you know, I have very little sympathy for people who get addicted to shit. It is knowingly addictive. Like, what is the matter with you? It's like people are like, I got addicted to heroin. I'm like, why would you try that? What is the matter with you? Like,
I just wanted to do it one time.
You're dumb. You can't. It's obviously addictive. Like, it's clearly been stated. There have been movies, studies. It's not a mystery. It's not a mystery. I'll tell you.
I've never heard of it before. I was trying something new.
When I was a kid, I watched this movie called The Basketball Diaries. You ever heard of this? Probably not. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg when they were like really young. The whole movie is about them getting addicted to heroin and you know, ruining their lives. And like, I watched that one movie and I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, that ain't for me. I'm not going to try it. It's like, that's all it took is like just seeing what happens. And it's the same thing. Like, I grew up with an alcoholic in my house, and like, I don't drink because I was like, oh, this is what happens when you do that. All right, that's not good. I'm not doing that. And I don't understand why people are so stupid. They're so stupid. I don't know.
I think it's like mostly a combination of factors, right? Like, you usually don't try that just like for the fun of it. Most of the time you try it because you have either extreme physical or emotional pain that you just can't just punch through on your own. And at the same time you have that hubris. Okay, I'm gonna do it once just to relieve the pain, and I'm strong enough to resist the urge again.
Well, the opiate thing in this country with like, it was prescribed to people and given to people. So people who got addicted to it because their doctors gave it to them, that's not the same. Like, I do feel
that's a different issue.
Where, like, so if you don't give your patient this, you'll get paid $50 an hour. But if you do, you'll get $400 this hour. So the doctors were like persuaded to do it.
Did you guys know, not to be a conspiracy theory, but did you guys know that before the United States invaded Afghanistan, the Taliban burned down all the poppy fields? And then we invaded Afghanistan and made them grow opium again. And then we had a huge opium problem in the United States for the next decade. Did you guys know that? That's the timeline of how things went down? They went in to burn all the opium. We went in there and told them to grow it. And then all of a sudden, there were pills flooding everywhere all over the United States. What the heck? Amazing. It's
what a coincidence.
What a coincidence. What a coincidence, guys. What a shocker. Like, so yeah, anyway, if you don't realize what's going on, like, the pharmaceutical industry may not be the most honest group of folks.
America's got problems, Joe.
That's the world's problem. That just ain't America's problem. These companies are the world's problem, friend.
Anyway, moving back to video games, guys. We have something pretty cool installed tonight.
We do.
I set up tonight's quiz and I got really excited to do it because it's one of the coolest quizzes that we've had for a while. So let's get into the Figsy quiz.
Is it about opium?
It is not. I'm sorry. This has been like the most out of context episode we've ever
I'm
had.
so sorry, guys.
Everyone's still watching, so they must be enjoying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, we've had a couple of shows where no one has gotten the chat question. So guess what? We're running these chat questions back tonight. So good luck. You guys have seen these before already. No one's got them.
That one on the right, like I've seen that game. I'm trying to remember like what that is. That's like an Atari game or something.
I'm not sure. And the other one. No one has gotten these questions right yet. So to get a point, you have to correctly name the title of the video game these images are trying to display. Each image may contain one or multiple words, depending on the game. First person to correctly name either title gets a point. If you name them both, you get 2 points.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyone's got it yet? Anyway, while you guys are thinking about that, let's get into today's quiz. So today's quiz has been worded very specially, and I laughed, and I'm going to read it out word for word. It says, as we know, Beliskner has more than 10 complete sets. But how well does he know the prices of American games? So the rules, you have to guess the average price of a complete in-box game according to the American price charting website for February 2024. So I'm going to show you guys 12 video games, one at a time. Beliskner will go first. Joe will go first on the second one. And you guys have to guess the average price of these games, complete in box. Whoever's closest will take the point.
Mm-hmm.
So, Beliskner, here is the first one. So the first one is Blaster Master on the NES.
I don't think that one's like that expensive. I think that should be about the same as the PAL version. So I say complete. I'm gonna go $90.
And Joe?
Yeah, I was thinking about $100.
And we're not using Price is Right rules. So it's just whoever's closest. So the correct figure we were looking for was $49. So Beliskner takes the point.
Yikes.
Cheaper than I thought. Okay.
Complete in box. Yeah, so yeah, the complete in box parts were really gonna throw me off because I do not know how much these boxes are worth.
All right, question number 2. Joe, you're going first here.
All right.
We have Outrun on the Master System, complete in box.
$40.
And Beliskner?
I'm definitely gonna go cheaper than that. I'm hoping price charting doesn't mix the label variants, because I think there's a label variant that's like really expensive. But I think this game should be like $10.
Correct answer was $22. So Beliskner takes the point with a $10 answer there. Moving on to game number 3. Beliskner, you'll go first here. We have Amazing Tatter, complete on the Game Boy.
Tater, man. It's
Oh
Tater.
boy, this game is like mega expensive, even loose. This is like one of the most expensive Game Boy games. I think, like complete in box, this is probably. I'm gonna go 1,800.
And Joe?
Oh my god. Bro, I have no idea. 1,800 complete in box? That is absurd. I would have said like 800, man.
So the price of Amazing Tater, complete in box, is $5,360. The listener takes another point.
There probably isn't that big of a sample size, right? There can't be like more than 2 or 3 sold in the
Yeah,
last
it
year
would
or
be,
something.
you know, the most recent sale. So there's probably 1 or 2 of them sold.
Yeah,
It doesn't take into consideration condition and different things like that.
Yeah, I think the loose card is like even 500 or something.
That's crazy. I mean, it's got Atlas on the front, so you could imagine.
Mm.
All right, moving on to number 4. Joe, you go first here. So we have Cool Spot, and we're looking for the complete in box Genesis version.
$25.
Listener?
Oh, I was gonna say that. Yeah, it can't be that expensive. I'm gonna go 20.
Couldn't have gotten any closer. The correct price was $22. Beliskner gets it by $1.
Give me a point. God damn it. I might have said 23. Shit.
Got your ass.
All right, Beliskner, you'll go first.
I'm from America. I should be winning. I suck.
So here we have Rock and Roll Racing,
It's a great
and
game.
on the SNES. Sorry.
Okay, that one is also not cheap, but it's not super expensive. This is probably 170 euro, US dollars.
And Joe.
Yeah, I was gonna say about $100.
Correct answer is $113. Joe takes the point.
Dang it.
Yeah, right. Billy Lou. That is a really good game, by the way. That's
Awesome.
I thought it would have risen more. Like even like 10 years ago, that was like 50 complete. So I thought it would have gone up a lot more.
It might have just been higher back then, and over time,
Maybe.
it really went down. But with inflation and everything, it's still gone up. All right, Joe, you're going first here. So we're looking for Doom, and this is complete in box on the
Jaguar.
Atari Jaguar.
Oh, I bet this is expensive. Oh shit! Complete in box, 300.
Listen,
I'm definitely gonna go cheaper than that. Like that game is really, really common. Like one of the more common Jaguar games. I'd probably say probably not more than 100.
correct answer, $109. Almost.
Yeah, whatever.
Dollar figure there.
I know nothing about Jaguar collecting. I just figured it'd be like one of the only good games on the damn thing. So I'm sure it's desirable.
It is one of the better games, yeah, but it's
But they
again,
print it
it's
a
like
lot.
super common. Like everyone bought it who had a Jaguar, so
That's fair.
For a super common game to be $100 is saying something, though. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you'll go first here. Number 7, we've got Croc Legends of Garbos on the PS1.
who's going first?
Listen,
Oh, I'm going first. This should also be pretty cheap, I think. I'm gonna go 15.
and Joe.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 20.
Correct answer was $10.
Nice.
Really?
All right, moving on to number 8. Joe, you're going to go first on this one. So we've got
On the
Daddy
N64.
Katan on the N64, complete in box.
It's Daikatana, man.
Daddy Katana. Oh, yeah.
I actually have this on PC. I have a feeling this game's actually kind of expensive. I'm gonna say 100.
What's that?
I think 100 is about the price of the PAL version, but I'm pretty sure the North American version is more expensive. I'm gonna just go 110.
Correct answer, and strategy works. It's $500.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. Was
I thought it was much more, but there's no like reason to go like crazy.
Yeah.
with
You
prediction
might as
then.
well just. I mean, you could have went 101, but you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Do it really quick.
This is some bullshit.
All right, but listen, you'll go first here. We've got Suikoden 3 on the PS2.
Oh, this might be a bait. Like I think the PAL version is like pretty cheap actually. Damn. Yeah, I think the PAL version is like really cheap, like 10, 15, but the North Americans always go crazy for games like this. I think I'm gonna go 25.
And Joe?
I'll go 30. I mean, it's definitely. I think it's like 40, 50 to be honest with you. But we'll go 30.
Joe's got it almost spot on. It's $32.
Damn it.
All right, Joe, you're going to go first on this next one. We've got Capcom versus SNK, complete in box on the Dreamcast.
Dreamcast at all? I mean, it's pretty expensive on the PS1. I think. I will say 150.
Oof. I think like for Capcom fighting game on Dreamcast, there's a bit on the lower end, but it's probably still over 100. I'm just gonna go 140.
Correct answer, $60. Beliskner
Oh,
takes it.
Okay.
Figure that
All right,
out.
Beliskner, you're up first on this one. We have Monster Kingdom Duel Summoner on the PSP.
I've never even seen that game before.
And you've got a complete PSP set, so that's crazy.
Yeah, this game didn't come out here. Yeah, I have no like context for this. But as you said, it says Atlas. You said it earlier.
And it's a North American exclusive, so
Yeah. But it's also PSP, and I've never heard of it. Like, if it was like super duper rare, I probably would have heard of it. I'm just gonna go 25.
and Joe.
Oh, we'll go $50.
Joe takes the point because this one's 83.
Damn.
All right, final game. Joe, you're going to go first. We've got Complete in Box, Connect Adventures. Actually, not complete. It doesn't have to set it up, but just Connect Adventures for the Xbox 360.
It looks like it should be free. It looks like dog shit, dude. I feel like this is a trick. I'm gonna say $10.
And Beliskner?
I'm gonna say $1.
Correct. Closest. And the correct answer was $4. So Beliskner will take the
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Dude, they were giving this game away when the Kinect first came out. Like,
I got
Yeah,
it.
over here you can find copies for $1. Like,
Yeah, but it's like, how could you even get a game cheap for less than $10 these days? God.
all right, guys,
sure
that was pretty close at the end there. The final score.
Yeah, that was real close.
Joe finished on 3 points, but coming out on top with 9 points was Beliskner. Well done.
easy games.
And to answer the question, how well does he know the prices of American games? I'd say very well.
Better than me.
Thank you.
That was
And let's
crazy
just see
too.
if
It was like
anyone got the chat questions.
that was fun too because it was like Game Boy and Dreamcast and this and that. I'm like, oh man, this I really do not know.
Yeah, that
That's
was
where
a
it comes-
cool concept. We definitely have to do that again.
That's where it comes in handy when you collect everything like me. I
Yeah.
have like some sort of understanding of the prices of every console, but yeah, there's some stuff that I just don't know either.
We should have thrown Neo Geo carts in there just to be like 35,765.
Like even Neo Geo, which I don't collect at all, at least I know like the top of the top end and the low of the low end.
Yeah.
So at least some of them I know. And if I don't know the game, I know it's probably around like 500, 600.
Mm-hmm.
I can confirm one of the chat questions has been correctly answered. Charger Mike got Portal Runner. Portal Runner was correct.
Nice.
Load
Because that was Load Runner. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Load Runner. Like I definitely know that cover.
So, guys, there's one question left, and that is name that game, chat. It's a
I got
tough
one. I got one chat question right like a couple months ago, and I'm content. I don't need. I don't need to win another.
You're on the scoreboard. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun. Thanks, Pavel, for doing that quiz. That was really cool.
That was a good one, Pavel.
Mm.
So what is I think we were talking about before the show. You updated the wall behind you, huh? That's all boxed SNES that you've been getting.
Yeah. All of this is boxed Super Nintendo. It goes down to about here. Like those right here are North American exclusives in the black boxes. And then like a little bit further, I don't know if you can see it. Those are like cartridges that I'm trying to replace with complete in box ones.
Always upgrading stuff, right?
Yeah, like for NES, I'm good with loose cards because of the end labels and because prices of boxes, of course. But Super Nintendo PAL ones don't have end labels. And if I start picking up loose cards as well, it's just gonna become a space problem.
How about N64? Have you been upgrading your loose cards to complete in box, or have you just sort of put
Yeah.
that to the side?
Yeah, I'm down to less than 50 boxes on N64, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know how it is with collecting. The farther down you get, just the more exponentially insane it gets. It's like you could have 5 left, but those 5 could be as expensive as 300 of the other boxes.
Like I can probably get all the European ones. Like the most expensive European one is probably like 600, 700 in box, which isn't like the absolute worst. It's still pretty bad, but I'm probably never gonna get StarCraft and Snowboard Kids 2. Let's be honest.
They're only getting, I think, the last one I seen, the Snowboard Kids 2 sell for was like $3,500.
Yeah.
It's only going to be more expensive the next one that sells, because guess what? Everyone who didn't win that auction is only going to want it more, right? And probably be willing to pay more. So that's how it works.
That's crazy, man.
Mm.
Yeah, that's why going for complete sets is just like a bold move. Like it really is. Like I love collecting, but like I don't want to commit myself to something like that where I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like it's tough.
You definitely
like-
have to know what you're getting yourself into. Like if you just get going into it, you have no knowledge and you want to get a complete set, you're just gonna give up after a few months.
Yeah, exactly. Once you realize how much is actually out there.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you're gonna sell it
Even
all
with
off.
PS3, I noticed that. Like when Fixie and I were more or less the only people who were going for complete sets, we would see people all the time that would start like ask us for lists and stuff. And I at least I would always warn them and hey, this is gonna take years. Even if you have money, this is gonna take years. And almost every time after a few months, they just gave up.
Especially for like the SingStar and the Buzz set. You know, it's like you're not going to find these on the internet. You have to like meet people in other countries and work out deals with them to get these games because they're not going to show up any other way. And that's like, you know, that's not something that will take a year. It's something that might take years and it'll cost a lot of money. And, you know, you have to be prepared for that. And
yeah, and it's just draining. Like the sheer mass of some of the libraries is just. You think you're making progress when you go to a thrift store and find like 3 or 4 games, but it's so little.
Exiled Xbite asks, is the chat question America's 10 most wanted? This has been our chat question now for 3 weeks, I believe. And guess what? That is correct. Well done, Exiled. But
Damn.
that one was tough, but yeah, America's 10 most wanted is correct.
Another game
Only,
I didn't know existed.
only released in PAL. What the fuck? Why didn't we get that over here? That's my first question. I'm like, I've never heard of this game. What the heck? America's 10 Most Wanted. It's PAL only. That doesn't make any sense. It's like the Michigan Report from Hell. Why is there a game about Michigan that didn't get released in the United States that got released in the you know, that's so weird to me.
Metal Wolf Chaos was also Japan only, even though
It was about the American president.
Yeah, it's like the most American game ever.
That game's pretty badass. I actually need to pick that up on PS4. That's one of those ones that I'm like, oh, I'll get that. But I have a feeling that's going to get expensive.
I feel like that what you just mentioned, Beliskner, also comes down to like people want a purpose to collect their games. And what's the point of owning 1,000 games without an end goal? So they make the end goal a full set, which makes sense. But you know, once you get to say you've got a big shelf, and once you fill that shelf up, the next decision is, do I now like buy another one of these and fill that up, or do I stop? Am I content? And a lot of people will just stop. I know a lot of people that were going for full sets got to like, you know, 1,000 games and just stopped because that's their collections are full, their shelves are full. You know, the girlfriend or the wife doesn't want you to buy anything else, and you know you've got a pretty cool game room at that point, and it's like a whole room of video games. Like, what more do you need? But yeah, it's doing that next step and realizing that, oh, I need a whole room that's just games. Like, you know, you can't fit the TV, you can't fit a computer in there anymore because suddenly the room takes up 5,000 video games, and it's, you know, it's 8 shelves, not 2 shelves, and you know, you got to clean these things, and you know, if there's gaps in your shelves, well, suddenly you've just wasted meters of potential space. So you might have to rebuy your shelves, and there's so many different things that come into it. Or we could talk about condition, and like you could start collecting and just buy everything. And you know, you bought a game that didn't have a manual, and this one's got a ripped cover and things like that, and suddenly you realize that you're collecting a full set, you want everything to be like brand new condition, and you might start rebuying things. And like once you get into that, it becomes expensive, and the time thing comes into it, and you know, you could be doing this for years on end and still not be happy with your collection at that point.
Yeah, there's always more stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
Always a way to bring your collection to the next level.
You buy graded games, and then you could want all
Oh,
those
fuck
graded
no.
games to be perfect 10s. And like, there's people out there that do that, like only collect 10 or 9.9s and things like that, which is insane to me. But there's a lot of people out there that do it, and that's that's fine. Each to their own.
I think it's awesome. It's just a commitment. Like I said, it's like so, but it also depends on which library you're talking about. Because there's a big difference between going for the N64 library and the PS4 library. It's like you madman.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like if a library is like less than 500 games, all right, I feel like that's reasonable. Like you can accomplish that. And I mean, a lot of people will be like, that's not reasonable, but to me, it is. But like certain sets of games, it's like it gets pretty outrageous. Like, you know, I'm amazed that the people who completed the PS2 set. Like, wow. That's
Yeah, but at least the PS2 set is a thing. A full Switch set, a full PS4 set. Are they going to be things? Like, are they ever going to stop? But games aren't okay. If you go back to the PS2 collecting, right? You could have bought, not today, but if you were collecting PS2 games 8, 7, 6 years ago, you could buy 90% of the library or 80% for less than $10. Today, PS4 library, 1,000 of them, probably even more, are all low print games. They're like $30, $40, and they're not cheap. You don't get them for $5 sitting in the clearance bin. So like you're talking like 50 grand minimum to just get into this whole like full set thing, let alone like if you missed out on games that are going for hundreds of dollars and buying games at retail, like it's crazy numbers. Which not to mention like you don't know when they're going to stop making PS4 games. It could be 5,000 games for a full set, which is more than most people would be willing to own in their houses, let alone like just for one system.
What I did for Vita and what I also started doing for PS4, even though I'm not like super active on collecting PS4, I just take all the regular retail releases and everything else that's coming from any limited run type company that's like the extended library, and is like kind of a bonus.
Yeah, you could look at it like that. But like it's weird though, because like if you look at like the Vita's kind of an exception because it saved the Vita's library. But if you look at like the PS3, there was a few of those things, and it makes the PS3 set cool because there's like 3 limited run games. There's one of these games got done, like Classic Heroes 3G was a project that gone through here, and there's a couple of things like that, and it's really cool to hear about all these different little things. But like PS4 collecting, it's like even collecting every game from one of these companies would be a task in itself. And that's like not mentioning limited run games, but like imagine owning every PlayAsia exclusive. You'd have more than 50 to 100 games at this point, or every strictly limited game. It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, on PS3, like those games are special because of that, because there's so few of them. But on PS4, like imagine you have those shelves full of those games from limited run companies. Like those games aren't really special anymore, right?
No, they were special until they were everywhere, and then they weren't special anymore. Like, again, this is crazy to think about, right? So let's assume every limited rare games is. Let's assume there's 5,000 copies of every release. There's not, but let's just assume that. And they've done, I don't know, they've done over 500 releases at this point. But let's just 500 releases alone. That means there's 2.5 million limited run games out there. Suddenly the 5,000 low print doesn't look that small anymore, knowing that there's 2.5 million out there. And that's where they're becoming like, you're going to see these games everywhere in game shops in the future, but they can't sell them for $10 because their price of buying them would have been 30 or 40. It's going to make collecting for the PS4 and the Switch so interesting in the future. And I feel like these games are going to be so hard to move for people, especially retailers, apart from the whole 5% that everyone wants. There's that 95% that no one's going to care about, and people are just going to be stuck with it.
Yeah. Like even the games from Red Dot Games, which are mostly limited to 999 on PS4, they can't even sell out their stock.
Yeah.
Like I have like 24 of them right here. But does anyone really care that they are limited to 999? Not really.
No.
Not now. Not now. So the question is, will people collect this stuff in the future the way that we collect our stuff now? Like, you know how like we like, 'cause, you know, you really I'm sure you're more passionate about the older stuff than the modern stuff. Clearly, like you care more about box SNES games than you do new PS4 games. Like, you know, so like it's just a matter of down the road in 15, 20 years, will the PS4 be nostalgic for these kids? And will they start getting into the idea of collecting this stuff? And then will those like, see, I think that the Switch and the PS4 in the future, other than the price, because the price will be bad, but it will be one of the most fun things to collect for. And I think having all of those limited run companies is one of the reasons, because it's fun to collect the subsets. So I do think down the line there may be some sicko who's like, I want to get all the strictly limited games that came out, or I want to get all the super rare games, or I want to get all these. That might be something that people do down the line. And then we'll, you know, limited run games is the only one where I feel like it's unobtainable now, because they've just done so many. Like, so like they've almost oversaturated their own desirability. They've like killed their own FOMO. And like, but like super rare games, I don't think that'll happen to like people, because there's not that many in the set, and that people will want those, and I think they'll all be expensive.
You're spot on about limited run games. Like if you were just getting into collecting and you made the goal of collecting a full limited run set, you just signed up for like, you know, $70,000 of money at minimum if you get them like as cheap as they were, which you're not, because they're already sold out and there's some more, which a normal person isn't going to do, because when I got into collecting, I went for the cheapest thing out there, and I'm sure you guys did the same, right? Like, you know, you go for like value for money, and what can I get lots of right away, because I want to play lots of video games and I like this video game system, you know.
That's how I used to buy PS3. Even when I wasn't collecting, I was just buying games that I thought I would want to play down the road at some point.
Exactly.
And I would just buy like 10, 15 PS3 games at a time.
I'm sure if we're buying movies, like Joe, right now, you're buying movies. You're not going out there buying the expensive ones. You're getting good deals, and you're looking around. And
no, I'm getting clear.
You find out something got a release that's like $300-$400. You're probably going to skip over it, because you know you missed that boat. You're not going to like want to get the $400 version because it's expensive, right? It just doesn't make sense.
No, I'm going to do what I do with same thing with games. I'm going to put some alerts on my fucking phone when those things pop up. I'm going to wait like patiently for someone to sell it too cheap. That's what I do. I check on, you know, Mercari, and I check on eBay, and I check on sites for stuff for people who are selling it too cheap. That happens. I mean, it still does happen. Like there will always be angry women who sell their husbands and boyfriends shit for cheap because they want it out of the house. That will always be a thing. So if you can just be patient and wait for that person, you know what I mean? Like there's someone like I'm so tempted. There's like somebody in like like one town over for me who's selling like all of these horror movie collectibles. And I'm just like, oh man, this is either some dude just cashing out his collection or some wife who got divorced who's selling all this crap. And it's like pretty good deals, man. Like, you know, these figures, they could probably go for like $100 a piece. And she's like, $20. I'm like, oh, I should go fill a room full of horror collectibles, but I can't. I'm so limited on space, man. I guess it's a good thing. I'm glad, because I can't do it. I literally am like physically restrained from purchasing more things, because otherwise I'll be becoming a hoarder and my house will be like stacked with stuff all over. But I can't have that. You know what I mean? So like, I can't keep buying everything.
Yeah. I was going through a phase where I was buying everything, and I didn't realize how much stuff I had in my house. Now that I've just been selling things flat for like a year and a half, and my house is still full of stuff.
Yeah, I'm fortunate in that way that I have a basement little compartment thing in my apartment building where I can just like my Master System collection, my PS2 collection, and my PSP collection. They're all in boxes in the basement because I don't have space upstairs here.
Yeah, that's it. Also kind of sucks that you can't see them on display all the time as well.
Yeah, it sucks, but like they're still there for whenever I get like a bigger place, maybe sometime down the road, and I can pull them all out again. And it's still pretty easily accessible the way I have them there. Like if I want to play something from there, I just can grab it out. and I never had moisture problems in the basement there either. Even when there was like flooding alerts and stuff, it's all pretty well isolated.
Yeah,
Never any
so
issues.
you guys got any pickups or video games to show off tonight?
Yeah, I have a couple.
I guess the pickups, not a lot, but I got a couple things.
I was going through my PS1 collection where we last left off. Last game we've seen was Chill, which was a snowboarding game. So we got a few more snowboarding games to show off. So here we have Cool Boarders 1. Yeah, Cool Boarders is a really cool series that they don't do anymore. But I enjoyed these games on the PS1. I never owned them back in the day, but I do have fond memories of renting them from the video shop. And, you know, it was either getting 1, 2, 3, or 4. It was always different every time because that's how the video shop worked. You could just rent what was there. But as an adult, of course, you could buy them all. So I got number 2 as well.
Oh, it's missing the front cover, right?
It's in there. It's just because it's a PS1 game, it's been pushed forward.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the manual.
And when they don't have thick manuals, it looks like the game isn't there. Yeah. It needs to have that like 100-page manual to push to the front. Now we have Cool Boarders 3.
That's my favorite one in the series.
Nice.
I absolutely love that game. I put a lot of time into that.
And
Yeah,
finally, Cool Boarders 4. And this is in the Australian case, the smaller case.
The better case.
Isn't there
Yeah, but I like the older cases better. So, like
The thick ones? Nah.
Yeah. I'd replace every single thin case with a thick case if I could.
What? Why?
They're so much nicer. They're more fragile, but they're just so much nicer. I reckon.
They suck because they are so fragile, and they're like they have the PlayStation logo imprinted on them. So if they're broken, that's like one less case that's in circulation. You can't replace those.
I know, but I just love them.
It's so bad.
Next series, one of my favorite as a kid, Colin McRae Rally. I put so many hours into this game, played it with my brother and my dad. Absolutely fantastic game. Rest in peace, Colin McRae, passed away a few years ago. And this iconic car from this series, it was his car, and it was like the iconic one. It was always the Subaru versus the Mitsubishi that was in red and white.
That became the Dirt series, right?
Yeah, I believe so. There's a second one which I still don't own at this point. I'll pick it up at some point.
It's a good. I love the PS3 games. I didn't play them on PS1, but.
All right, next series. We have one of my favorites, and I had to get every game on Black Label for this, and it took a few years, but I have finally tracked them all down. Of course, that's Crash Bandicoot. Now, this version in particular, there's 2 versions of this. This one here comes with the demo of Tekken 2, Wipeout 2097, Destruction Derby 2, Monster Trucks, and Formula 1, and it's in one of those double-style cases. And it's a little bit more expensive than the just single-copy version.
I have the same one.
Nice one. I don't know if Europe got the small one. I think this was the regular release, and then Australia did the thin case version.
I'm not sure if we have a thin one. I know the platinum one is thin, I think.
Can you show the spine of that game real quick again? I just want to show you something. Like, why do they do that? Why is the Crash Bandicoot not lined up? Why do they do that? Why do they have to mess with my OCD like that?
Every single Final Fantasy game except one of them's like that.
I know, dude. And I was like, I remember one day looking at it like, do I have bootlegs? Is this something wrong with these? Why would they do this on purpose? There's no way they would be that sloppy. But yeah, what the heck?
Of course, I'm sure you guys can guess what's coming up next. We've got Crash Bandicoot 2. This is Cortex Strikes Back. Fantastic games. I played through them recently on the PS4. Just as fun as when I was a kid. Fantastic. Yeah, this one is my favorite. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped.
That one is the best, yes.
Boogada, boogada. And then you had the spin-off titles. Crash Bash. I wouldn't say this one was the best. It's probably the weaker one out of the 5 on PS1, but still Better than any of the PS2 Crash Bandicoot games.
What is that game? It's not a
It was
fighter.
just like party mode.
Yeah, it's Mario
Okay.
Party, but with Crash.
Gotcha.
Yeah, basically. And then one of the best ones, not the best, but definitely up there, one of the best like kart racing games.
That's a
Crash
solid game.
Team Racing. So good.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one's in the Australian little case as well. And yeah, that's where we leave my PS1 collection. We will continue with some more C games on the next podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying it so far.
Yeah, no PlayStation from me. Like, I don't really pick up PlayStation anymore unless it's Vita. Like, I'm still buying Vita, trying to finish that up. What I did get recently is
Oh wow. Super
this.
clean Mega Man.
Yep.
That's nice.
Palby Mega Man. This was not cheap, but
I've never seen that label before, so I'm assuming it's pretty rare.
well, it's just the regular label for the PAL version.
Okay.
It's not like that much rarer or more expensive than the NTSC version is,
Mhm.
but a lot of the Capcom games have this white part at the bottom.
Mm.
Like DuckTales 2 and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2, those all have these white parts at the bottom. I don't think the earlier Capcom games did, but at least not most of them.
Mhm.
Yeah, but this one's really cool. I still need Mega Man 5. That one's really expensive, unfortunately. Mega Man 6 didn't come out here, so
Really?
nope.
That's
Which is
disappointing.
which is probably good because it probably means that the feedback from the players actually mattered, because Mega Man 5 was such a disastrous game. They just decided, maybe not for Europe, man. They didn't
That's
like
fine.
that one.
Huh.
Yeah. And another
What's your
cool
favorite
thing,
Mega Man? If you don't mind me asking. I like 2.
2 is best, 4 is second best, then 3, then 1, then 6, then 5.
Oh wow, you actually thought out. All right. I like
I played them all, so
I like 2 and then 3 and then 4 and then 1 and then 5 and then 6. I like 3 a lot too.
Yeah, 3 is cool, but 4, I think 4 is still better than 3.
Well, is which one? I can't remember. Like, because each game they introduce a different ability, right? Like, you don't have the charge up in 1 and 2, and you don't have the slide in one of them. I can't remember. Like, they keep adding like more.
Yeah, I think the slide came out with 4, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much once you
to
get
look
all
it
of his abilities, that's one that's 4 probably is. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I also got a new console, which is
Ooh.
pretty rare these days.
That's good.
This Supervision was made by, I think it's a company from Hong Kong called Watara. But it was distributed by several different companies in Europe. And this is like a really nice boxed one. The system inside is also really, really clean. That was like supposed to be a competitor to the Game Boy, but obviously it failed because it just wasn't as good. Also takes 4 batteries that are drained in a matter of hours.
Actually, I still own a very similar system, Beliskner, and like the way it worked is, correct me if I'm wrong, but all the games are pre-installed on it, right? You can't actually put games in it or anything like
Although
that.
those are like those LCD games. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like the graphics are better. Like they are almost as good as the Game Boy, but just not quite as good, and the colors don't look as good. And the games themselves, they kind of look like they are pirated. And like the board is exposed at the bottom.
I was gonna say, why
they
is the
always
board
are.
so like that's you're asking to damage that? Like, there's especially for a kid or something to carry that around. There's no way.
Yeah. So the labels, they all only have the name of the game on them, like no company names at all. So it kind of looks like pretty cheap. And also, they were sold in blister packs, so there's no boxes for those. Like once they're unsealed, the box is just destroyed.
That sucks.
Yeah. So you pretty much have to
Even,
collect these
like-
unless you find them sealed.
Yeah, even like storing them today, like how are you going to store them? Because It's so
Store them
fragile.
like loose Game Boy games,
yeah.
basically.
That's cool though, man.
Yeah, it's a really interesting system. I wasn't actually directly looking for one. It was listed wrongly on eBay and showed up in one of my other searches. And it was an open auction, so I figured, well, put in a bid, why not? Because I never see that one. Like I wouldn't have bought it if it was just the loose console. But since it was boxed, I put in a bid and I ended up winning.
That's cool.
Which is
Nice.
kind of nice.
So
Also,
the next question is, how many games in a full set, and are you gonna go for one?
I think it's 68 or something. The console I bought came with I think 9 or 8 games. Complete set is pretty much impossible because there's one game there that only has like 2 or 3 known copies. Even though it was a retail release, it's not even like a prototype or anything.
That's insane.
It's just not out there. And I think one guy has it, and he wants, I think, like 15,000 for it. So,
Yeah. But it's the type of thing that should be in a museum, if there's only like 2 or 3 of them out there.
yeah,
Such
like
a pure thing for a console that like I didn't even know existed prior to you mentioning it.
yeah, and a lot of the other games are also just hard to find in general. There are some that you can buy, but there's like maybe 15 different games listed on eBay across Europe right now, which is like a quarter of the library. So, what do you want me to do, right? And it's not like I see them at conventions either. So
It'll be waiting for another lot like you bought to show up with someone who has no idea what they're selling, and you're the only one to bid on it, and there's like 20 of
pretty
them.
much, yeah.
And then we'll be like, oh, I only need 5 more of these. That's when you go to eBay and start buying them.
Got any more stuff to show off?
Oh, Sarah said that guy who has it has all the copies in the world. He just learned how to corner the market early. That's insane.
I did not know that. I just knew there were like only 2 or 3 copies at all.
Yeah, 2 or 3 at his place.
Yeah, lucky guy. Now he just has to find someone who to sell them to, because I'm sure as I'm not gonna pay 5 figures.
You just have to hope someone cares about the system as much as he did in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's no, that's pretty much. I'm trying to save up a little bit of money right now because there's another retro convention in Berlin in 3 weeks. So I'm saving a little bit of money for that.
Smart.
Yep.
What do you got first, Jim?
I don't have a lot of stuff, but I got some relatively neat stuff. So I did order this. I just couldn't help myself, dude. I had to pick it up. So I got the limited run. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Supposedly the last 3DS game that's going to be released. Although I think I've bought in the last 3DS game like 4 times now. Yeah, dude, I bought Andros 2 now. So I bought in Shakedown Hawaii. I bought this. I didn't order the other 2 that they had too. But this, as far as I know right now, is the last one. But it's Shantae too, and it's a great game. So I don't even mind having it in my collection just for that reason.
It's I like seeing the little Shantae picture on the side of the 3DS.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's one of my favorite things about 3DS collecting in general is the little pictures. Cool. Yeah, dude, they look sick. Yeah, these are I don't know. I love collecting for the 3DS because complete in box. This is it. Look how efficient this is. It's nice and small and clean and blah blah blah. And like I don't know, I really like collecting for that system. I definitely bought a lot of stuff at the wrong time though. I'm not gonna lie. Like a lot of the games I bought have come down in price since I bought them.
You were buying 3DS games when everyone was talking about 3DS games.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did well on a lot of them, but some of them I didn't do that great. And then freaking VGP reprinted a bunch of stuff, which was like, ugh. So anyway,
I mean, at this point, it's like if a game's expensive, you can even just people like tweet at VGP and like they'll be like people have tweeted at them for Godzilla and they've explicitly explain why they can't do Godzilla and they've tried and things like that. So it's like You know, if a game's expensive at this point, you can just be like, "Are you guys going to reprint it in the future?" And they'll probably respond in some way. That'll give you an idea if they are or if it's impossible, you know.
I don't want to give them any ideas. It's the last thing I need. Like, there's a couple.
Well, if you don't
I
own the
have-
game yet, you can see if a game's a couple of $100 and, you know, it's a JRPG on a
That's
modern
fair.
system, you know, it's a fair bet that it's in their minds to reprint it. And it might happen.
Yeah.
Even Atlas games aren't at the cards anymore, which is crazy to me.
Well, they'll probably reprint this one someday.
Pixel remastered fucking collection.
Still the Labyrinth of Galeria.
Yeah, nice. I wish. Have they done the first one of that? Have they reprinted that yet? They did, didn't they?
I don't know if they reprinted this. There's 2 games in this series. There's another one. Well, there's more than that. This is based on the Disgaea series, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure this is like the same universe.
Like 10 days and everything.
Except it's not a strategy game. This is like a first-person dungeon crawler. So, you know, those. This is like I said, that first-person perspective dungeon crawler type games. I don't know. I've been going for a full set of these. Like I've been talking about this for a while. I'm going for all of the first-person dungeon crawling games on the PS4. I think that I like the genre first and foremost. Like I've said this before. Like I'm a weirdo. I like the old school RPGs where you have to grind and you have to go out and just fight and level up and like, you know, worry about your stats. And I don't know. I just think I like hard RPGs, like where you can die and you can lose and like lose your progress and like bad stuff can actually happen to you. I don't know. It's amazing. I don't like games that are like, oh, you lost, whatever, you win anyway. Wee! Like that's the whole new game design. It's like everybody's too afraid to.
Here's the point just before you lost that move. Now try again. And we'll give you more potions next time.
Yeah, which again, I mean,
this boss.
Yeah, which is it's all right, but like I don't know. I like games that don't hold your hand, that punish you for bad decisions and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I guess that's why I like Binding of Isaac the most. The game is like straight up mean. Like it's a mean ass game. Like it trolls you, it screws you over, and like if you can't just like willy-nilly do things because you'll suffer if you do that. You have to think about what you're doing and plan stuff out, or else the game will screw you. I don't know. I just like that. It's fun.
Geogus is exactly the same.
Yeah. And then
I'm just like thinking about the game I'm playing. I'm like, I can relate 100% to that.
I ordered both of these a while ago. They finally came in, so I got Dodonpachi Resurrection. Nice. Limited run games. So this is a shmup. It is a cave shmup. That's Dodonpachi. You know how well it's like I think it's the newest Dodonpachi. I don't think they've come out with another one since then. I could be wrong, but this is like one of the most recent releases of the game. It's a pretty good version of the game. I like it. It's hard as balls.
Wasn't that on 360 originally?
I don't know if this one was on 360. Might have been.
There was a Dodonpachi on 360.
Yeah, there was, but I just don't remember. I don't collect for the 360, and those are insane.
I feel like at this point, almost every 360 shmup has been.
The game came out it says it came out in 2008, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, then it's probably, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And it's
probably
definitely
really expensive. There was no other shmup on any other system in 2008.
No. The PS3 shmup collection is 2 games.
It's 5. It's 5 if you include bullet hells.
Oh, great. And then I got this with it too, which is why it took so damn long.
Ooh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Dodonpachi Switch Mini Arcade, and what you do is you build it, and you put your Switch in it, and you can put a little controller in there, and you can play your shmups like it's like an old little quarter arcade.
That's cool. That is really cool.
Yeah, and I have, if you can't see it that well, but I can't do this right here. That purple box right there, you see that? That's the other one they came out with for Mushi. I'm not saying it. Mushi Hamisami, Mushi Himihami, Mushi, whatever. Mushi. So they have 3 of them. They have one for Mushi, they have one for Dodonpachi, and then they have one for Espagaluda. And I ordered all 3 of them, and I've just been waiting forever for these damn things to show up. So this one finally showed up. And what's really cool is I'm a nerd, and I have like tons of different colored Joy-Cons. So I can put like the red Joy-Con in here with the black and the red. It's going to look so fire. And then I have a purple, the Mushi one's like all purple. I'm going to put a purple controller in that one. and like they're all gonna match, and so I'm gonna set them all up, and I have like friggin' 6 switches, so I'm gonna put them all in there and turn them on, and it's gonna look freaking rad, dude.
Yeah, I want to see that photo. Have you used them yet when you're playing Smops?
No, I haven't opened them yet. So I don't have
like once you start using them, if you'll continue to actually play them, why they're like that, or it's just more of like a novelty thing.
No, it's just a novelty thing, dude. It's literally just for fun. Like who wants to play on a little tiny freaking Joy-Con? Like, I don't want to play that way, bro. I want to play with an arcade stick. So that's what I'm going with those. But they look cool, and I love shmups. So to me, it's just like anything that like shows a little love to shmups, I'm down. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh yeah, I'll support that because I don't know, just like it doesn't get the genre doesn't get a lot of love. Although I feel like that's changing a little bit. I think it's kind of getting a resurgence in popularity. I feel like more people are interested in it lately than the last 5 years, I'd say.
There's a bunch of shmups on Steam, like if you ever need more. And they're really cheap as well.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of them. And feel like a lot of these low print companies have figured out that the audience for them, like me, we're like voracious for them. I buy every single shmup that comes out, period. Every single one. I don't care if it's good or bad, or I don't wait for reviews. I don't know. I buy every single one. Like I just love that genre. So
I was from like 2015 to 2019 because I was like supporting the genre that disappeared for 10 years. But then it got to a point where it's like, there's a new shmup every week. So I've stopped buying them all.
You did your part. The genre is back. So you don't have to buy them anymore.
You're welcome, everyone.
Yeah, I feel like there's more coming out lately than there ever has been.
Well, I would almost put it down to companies like Limited Run Games, because those are the type of games that, there is a hardcore 5,000 or 10,000 people that are crying for this, but that makes no sense to Sony or Activision or Ubisoft. But Limited Run Games is like, yeah, perfect. You want to give me like this really cool game that I've been playing for 20 years? Fuck yeah, and there was some super cool shmups that they did, and then it just started to kick off. Like you see retail releases, and it's not just Japan anymore. That like they'll do a localized version and release it at the same time. It's really cool.
What was I gonna say? So like they I don't know how to put this. So they've been putting out a lot of games. Like I feel like re-releases too. Oh no, that's what I was gonna say. So with the arcade games, a lot of them got the like versions released that like are kind of like lost in time. So like shmups especially, like they didn't get ported to consoles, like a lot of them at all. So they're just arcade releases. So to get arcade releases that don't have any physical ports ported is amazing. And then also what I really like is the trend is they'll find like all the versions, not always, but they'll find like the black label, the white label, the green label, the blue, whatever, all the different versions that came out over the years and put them on a cart too, which is amazing because sometimes like the only way to play a certain games, this version of that game would to be buy the actual arcade board and they'd be like $10,000 to find one. So it's like you can't play them, or like maybe you can emulate them or whatever, but shmups too are also notoriously crappy for emulation because if you have any sort of issues or delay or lag or any problems like that, it ruins the game. Like you can't have any problems with lag. So I don't know, it's nice to see that.
If the opposite plays better than the original, people want the original because that's what they remembered, So if there was like an input lag in the original, then that's what they want.
Well, they have to keep slowdown in there for sure. Like some games, like there's so much stuff going on the screen that everything kind of slows down and gets a little like whatever. But like it's almost designed that way. Or if you took that out, you'd be screwed because there's so much going on. If everything was just like you'd be dead. You need the slowdown. Like so. Is Rancid trolling me over here? He's saying that the Joy-Cons are the best one. I don't know, man.
Well, we'll find out once you give them a go.
I don't know.
We've got some pickups from the Discord to show you guys. So we've got some pickups from Clean, and Clean will be back on the podcast next Sunday, so be sure to check that out. We'll be doing I believe, another PS3 type show. We'll get some more details soon.
Cool.
So this is a really cool demo. Now, this is volume number 1. I believe there's 5 of these, and they'll release in Asia, and that's all about PlayStation Hits Volume 1. And yeah, I've seen only like one person in the world who's got a full set, so they're really hard to track down, these demos. I don't think they're quite expensive. I just think it's rare, and they're, from certain countries that are hard to get from, etc.
Mm.
And we've got some really cool double packs. This is the first time I've seen them. And when you see a pack like this, so we've got a sticker here for Super Buy. Now, usually what this means is this store Super Buy had copies of the game, right? And they would have had heaps of copies of the DVD as well. And they would have went, what's a good idea is we'll bundle these two together and, take $10 off the price. And that's literally what the CEO would have said, do to every single store. And that's how you come up with something like this. So it's not a PlayStation official release, but it is official because it came from a retail shop. But then you got a grey market of countries like Spain and Italy did this as well. Are they official? Because they look really dodgy. Like, it wasn't from the US. And places like, I'm sure places in Asia do the same thing, where they'd probably just look like bootlegs, but that's how they're released. So yeah, it's an interesting concept. Like, to me, I wouldn't include it as part of like a set or anything, but it's still like, it's a legit game. It came from a retail shop, and that's just how they sold them. So they're cool. Ling's got some pickups. So we've got the Loop 8 collector's edition here. That's cool.
This is a Woot purchase right here. I can tell you. This is like, most of this was on sale with Woot at the same time, because I bought a couple of these things too.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, so Langrisser 1 and 2, that's going to be pretty collectible as long as VGP doesn't print it again, because they reprinted the Switch version recently, but not the PS4 version. And that's like a remake of a Genesis strategy RPG. Pretty collectible.
Paperman looks cool on the Switch.
It does look cute. Fort Solace is cool too. That's like a horror themed space type thing.
Nice.
I actually love those like mystery games too, like the Agatha Christie games and the Sherlock Holmes games and stuff like that. I love games like that as well.
Yeah, those are really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
This is Darky. Darky updated his shelf. This is awesome.
That's all of the big box PS2 Lycan games, I think, right?
And the PS3 one as well. It's so cool to see them all together like that. That's awesome. Oh, this one's a PlayStation 1 big box. That's cool.
I didn't even know.
Have you guys ever played the PS3 one, the Rising Storm?
Yeah, I enjoyed the PS3 Time Crisis games. I played them with the guns.
Honestly, I didn't play it with a. Oh no, I did play with a move, but not with a like the gun attachment. I thought it was pretty shit, to be honest.
No, fair enough. I had fun playing it, but like I played
maybe I'm just terrible, but yeah,
it wouldn't be something that I'd go back and play it again. I'm like, oh, that was a cool novelty. It's not a game I'd sit down and play for 20 hours.
Nice.
Lol picked up The Thing.
Classic. Yeah, I picked that up a little while ago too. That's a good game. Great movie too.
Oh, it's one of the best horror movies ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I picked up the DVD, the Blu-ray or 4K recently too.
I haven't seen this one.
Fate.
Clean's picked up Fate Samurai Remnant.
It looks good. I believe it's an RPG. Could be wrong. I think that's an RPG.
That looks cool.
If it's the game I'm thinking of, it looked really good. If it's the new one, but I could be wrong.
We've got some more pickups from Ling. This one, I've always been attracted to the cover of that. It looks so cool.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Is it the islands in the Aegean? Or treasures in the Aegean? That's what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Radical Reggie showed that off on our show. That's like it almost looks like like an older like Prince of Persia style like 2D action side scrolling game, but like it has this beautiful hand drawn artwork. Looks gorgeous. What's that miasma game?
I haven't seen it before. It looks cool.
Yeah, I don't think I'm familiar with that one. I'm curious what that little band at the top says too.
And then we've got Other Side and Sharon's Starcase. Oh,
Staircase.
it's the Desco title.
Yeah, that's like another like short little horror mystery type game. It looks like. Other Side, I've kind of looked at that, but I'm not familiar with it. I think that's an action game, like maybe a Metroidvania. I'm not sure.
Moving now, we've got some more from Darky.
There we go.
Oh, Fantastic Four on the Game Boy for $10. That's awesome. That case, the acrylic case itself, like, is worth that with shipping. You know. Then we've got some NES titles as well.
I'm looking if there's like very few here that are actually released in Europe. Most of those are North American exclusives.
Skater Die 2, baby.
Yeah,
No,
we did not get that one. We only got the first one.
I can
Die
imagine
is,
what Where's Waldo on the NES would have looked like.
Oh, it's a
Skater Die.
pretty big mess, yes.
It'd be like all these pixels, and you're just looking for the one pixel that's red.
Mhm.
Skater Die is where the name Joe Rad came from, because I had to pick a name in that game, and I'm like, I'm Joe Rad. I'm gonna play some game. I'm a skateboard because I'm rad. That's literally like where I came up with that name when I was like 8.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's like 3 games there that were released in Europe. All the others are North American exclusive.
Sick
Oh,
stuff.
that
dude.
was really cool, everyone. If you want to see your pickups on the show too, all you have to do is join my Discord channel and jump into the group pickups to be shown on the podcast and post your pickups in there. And it's either once a week or once every 2 weeks. Once we got a bunch in there, we show them off like that. So, yeah, thanks everyone for dropping by and showing you stuff. So awesome stuff in there as always. I'm always blown away by what everyone shows off.
Mm.
It is cool stuff. It's always the inspiration from what other people are looking at too. I don't know. That just happens. Like I'll be like, oh, someone will show a game they got, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that game. I meant to get that game, and then I'll pick it up too. So
I do notice, as you'll see with pickups, is someone will share a game and it's really cool and people are excited about it. And then for the next like 3 or 4 weeks, that same game shows up like 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you bought that too? Like it could be a PS2 game that you just forgotten about, and like someone brings it up, and it's like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to get that, and everyone just goes and buys it. It's cool.
It's weird how that happens, man. That's like what I like with certain hypes and like all of a sudden everyone gets interested in the same thing at the same time collectively across the whole hobby, and it's like not even planned or necessarily coordinated or whatever. It just happens naturally. Like I said, like I feel like a lot of the times it's when a new game gets announced in an old series. That's just like
yeah, of course. But that's a no-brainer. It's weird when it just happens out of the blue. Like
yeah,
like
exactly.
Thing, for example, you just said you just picked it up and someone else just picked it up, and like if we see that picked up for the next couple of weeks, it's like, oh, everyone's picking the thing up at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a reasonably priced horror game on the PS2. You should be getting that before they're all out of control. I think I got that for like $40 or something, which is like cheap compared to the other PS2 horror games.
Did that get a power release?
Wait, which one are we talking about?
The Thing.
The Thing.
The Thing? Yeah.
Okay, I haven't got it.
Yeah,
I should have it.
I got pretty much all the horror games I want except for the big boys. I don't have Ruler Roy's or Kuon.
Hey, speaking of Rule of Rose at the moment, be careful and have a lot of due diligence because there's fake copies that are being sold right now. And in excess, one guy on Facebook got done and he was trying to like deny to a group that his copy was legit, and the story just something like the more he said things in the comments, the more he was like digging himself a hole. And apparently, like his mate who runs a game shop had 10 sealed copies that he just came across. Sealed Rule of Rose, 10 copies at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think he got 10 brand new copies from? The guy on Etsy who's making them. Like, you can make a PS2 game. It's not hard. If you've got, people out there have like serious equipment these days. If that's your hobby in making bootleg stuff, then you can spend the money to make them, and they're printing off games that work in consoles. So like they're completely tricking people. Like you're buying a game, it looks legit, it plays. Problem is like someone's buying this for $400, it goes in their collection, and then what happens if they try and sell it a few years down the line? So yeah, do due diligence. You can go online and you can find these listings, and the people will be very like over willing to sell it. So it's kind of obvious when they pop up. So as far as I'm aware, it's just Rule of Rose right now, but yeah, might expect the other big expensive PS2 games to join that crowd sooner rather than later.
Funny thing about Kuon, the last 3 retro conventions I was at, I saw at least 2 copies at every single one of those. Like, people just have that game, and it wasn't even the same seller, like the same 2 sellers every time. It was always different people in different cities. Like everyone just
games that
everyone just has that.
It's always been on eBay. I've never like not seen it online for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like hard to get. It's just expensive. It's just like, like I said, you see them all the time on eBay.
On the other
Maybe
side, I've
even
never seen people actually buy them.
I've seen a few big like PS3 collectors, bite the bullet and buy that game because they're going for a full set, but that's about it.
Mm.
So the only way I'm getting something like that at this point is if I'm trading. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you have a Kuon and you want 500 for it or 700 or whatever the hell people are asking for it, I don't know. I'm going there and trading $400 for the stuff and maybe give you $100. Like I'm not about that anymore. But trading and stuff I don't really want or I don't play or I don't care about to get something really nice that I want, I'll do that. Like I got no problem with that because there's tons of games that like they're games that I wanted and I enjoyed them and I played them and at the time I'm glad I bought them, but I know I'm not going to play them again. You know what I mean? And they didn't necessarily have the most impact on my life. You know what I mean? So like I'm like these can go. There's definitely games like that in my collection. So
I'm selling things now that I'm like, why did I buy this? Like, all the PlayStation Move games that I've got that were like novelty games that, I'm never going to play in a million years. And
oh man, the PlayStation Move games, they are so underrated though. Like honestly, the PlayStation Move was a billion times better than the Wii Remote. Like all the games actually worked, and they're actually fun. Like
tell you the one I did enjoy, it was the one where you played as. It was set in Japan, and you were like on an office chair rolling down a hill.
Kung Fu Rider, yeah.
I was just gonna get that game and just bring it out. I was just looking for it, and you mentioned it. I'm like,
that's actually hilarious because that game is probably the worst Move game. Like as far as controls go, that's probably the worst one.
I had fun playing it, so I'm not.
It is still fun, yeah, but it's not good controls wise.
It looks hilarious. So I went through I bought a bunch of Move games too.
Yeah, I think Sports Champions is probably like the best one. Like Sports Champions 1 and 2. Those are basically
because it's like the most cheapest PS3 game out there.
Yeah, but they are like Wii Sports, but they are just much better. Like the controls just feel so good.
I like the fight. I like that one too. I think that's a decent boxing one.
I haven't tried that one. I have
it's pretty good. It's not bad.
I have the bundle with a Move controller and the camera for the fight, which was like a really, really crazy find. But I've never played it. It's one of the few Move games I haven't played.
That's just that like first-person shooters on the PS3. It's probably legitimately I probably sold 100 different first-person shooting different games. There was just so many like generic like this is like Call of Duty, but we had a budget of $100,000. So let's put this out. Like let's just make it about one city or like something. It was so many for the PS3. It was so crazy.
Like some of them you can really see like the low budget, and a lot of them are really bad, but they're still like kind of fun for the time they offer.
They're not the genre I play, but they're not like I see them differently to like the PS4 library where you're still getting what you expect as a game. You're not going to buy something that's like you're gonna play in 5 minutes, or looks like it was made 20 years ago when you didn't expect that.
Probably like in the like 5 worst PS3 games I've played, there's probably 4 first-person shooters. Not gonna lie.
I played Leisure Suit Larry. That's got to be up there, and I played Ride to Retribution. That one's up there.
I own both.
Oh,
of
I've
those.
heard that one's bad. Yeah.
I have a pretty small collection, and I die both of those games.
It's so bad, like so bad.
Ride to Retribution is unappreciated art, is what it is. Okay, like you just don't understand. Okay, like it's deep. All right.
Yeah, the worst thing is if they polished that, it would actually be a really cool game.
I don't want it to be a really cool game. I want it to be a hideous mess that I laugh at. It's hilarious. I should stream that game. Oh, that'd be so funny, dude.
Stream an emulator version. Streaming a PS3 game is a nightmare.
It's a huge pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one of the things I'm going to do when I upgrade my PC. I'm going to start getting into PS3 emulation a little bit more. Fill up a hard drive of games. Because it is a big pain in the ass starting to stream. I'm thinking about selling some of my backwards compatible consoles too. I don't need 3 of them.
Some of them, yeah, you don't need 3 of them. Use them to trade for expensive stuff because everyone wants a backwards compatible console. That's what they are, Joe. Trade bait.
I know, and I always think
they're worth like $500 or $600, but no one wants to pay that. You know.
You can get them a little cheaper around here. I feel like I can get them for about $250 around here. If you were patient,
Trade
if you
like $700, right?
Yeah, if you want a nice clean one, with the box or something, you're gonna spend a lot more than that. But you just want one that works. But yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about doing that just because they take up a lot of space, and I don't really need them anymore. And I'm moving more into emulation when it gets to the older stuff because of the convenience factor. So I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I also never want to get rid of it. Just like I'm gonna have one just in case. Like I don't know. I just prefer to have the original.
PS2s disappear and you can't play PS2 games anymore.
I mean, that is the biggest reason I have them is to play PS2 games HDMI on my TV without having to deal with upscalers and cables and crap like that. I really like that. But you never know. Analog could just come out with a brand new system that plays those games. I'm hoping
that's
that
on the
there are
PS2
companies
is
that do
such an
that.
easy system to just plug in and start playing.
Yeah.
I want Analog to come out with a really nice PlayStation 2 PlayStation because it's like the same thing. You know what I mean? Like they PlayStation 3 obviously not, but it'd be so sick if they came out with one that
HDMI and blah, blah,
HDMI. Blah. Yeah, put it out super high frame rates, upscaling, whatever.
All inbuilt, not like accessories that have to be plugged into other things. And you can do HDMI on the PS2, but it's crap,
It looks dark. Every cable I gotten that converts it, it's like the PS2 is already kind of muddy and dark looking anyway, just because of the color palettes. And then if you have like a signal loss or some, it's I don't know. I just don't like the way it looks. I have like a pound cable and a couple other things, and I never liked it. I tried that route first, and then that's why I got the backwards compatible PS3s because I was like, this sucks.
Guys, you hear what me and Joe play almost every week, and I'm sure it's exactly the same. So, Beliskner, what are you playing at the moment, man?
The last few weeks I've been playing a lot of Teamfight Tactics.
Nice.
Because Riot is gonna introduce the Vanguard anti-cheat for League of Legends, and I wanted to play a bit more before I have to uninstall the game. Because I'm not gonna have Vanguard on my PC. Fuck that shit. So last week I got to Master as well. So now I can actually relax a little bit because I can't get demoted from Master.
Yeah,
it's probably not like I can reach Grandmaster because it's just too much. But I'm gonna play a little bit more. It's been really, really fun. And other than that, I've been playing Trackmania quite a lot as well.
Nice. I've never played Trackmania, but I watch my mates stream it all the time, and it's just such a cool game. I mean, I kind of wish I got into it, but yeah.
It's so fun. I mean, you can still get into it. It's even for new players, it's actually pretty easy to learn and have fun, even if you're not very good. Unlike some other games, like for example League of Legends, which is just pure misery for the first 200 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no kidding.
I'm just so addicted to Diego so that I don't want to start anything else at the moment.
Yo,
Yeah.
you're gonna play Power Word with me, mother effer. You're doing
Yeah,
it.
I know.
I bought it. I downloaded it. I installed it. So you have to do that. We're gonna do that. Hope you're ready.
I was thinking that I'm also keen to play Stardew Valley with you because that was
Mhm.
really fun when we did that, and we just didn't do it enough.
Well, I'd like to do that, but at this point, we might as well wait for the patch because
Yeah,
there's a huge patch coming. So it's like, might as well wait for that. But in the meantime, I think we should catch some fake Pokemon and build some stuff, and yeah, that'd be fun.
I got no excuses. I turned my computer on this morning, and guess what the Windows message was this morning?
That free Power World.
Get Game Pass for $1 today.
Mhm. Yeah, is it on Game Pass? I think it is. I'm not
Yeah, it's
sure.
on Game Pass.
Yeah, dude, come on, man. I spent
Yeah.
$30 on it. I got it on Steam.
I'm down.
Oh hell yeah, we're gonna catch some Pokemons, boys. Beliskner, you want to play? You want to catch some Pokemons with us?
Nah, I'm good, thanks.
Ah, come on, man.
I still have to play the Pokemon Cock version. I still haven't gotten around to that one.
The what
That's
now?
It's like the only real ROM hack that I own. It's basically Pokemon Blue, but all the dialogue is very not safe for work. Like it's probably you wouldn't even want to stream it on Twitch because you'll probably get banned because of the
Oh.
wording that is used in that game. It's it's pretty rough.
Speaking of Pokemon ROM hacks, there's some really cool versions out there. Like,
Yeah.
there's 10 generations of Pokemon. There's versions out there that you can play that people have made that have every single town, every Pokemon in the game. Like, there's ones that incorporate. I haven't played it for years, but this is one that did like random generators, and it was like a completely different game, but it's in the Pokemon universe. It uses all the Pokemon, and I'll play it throughout the week and tell you about it on the next podcast. Yeah, if you're into that kind of stuff, literally just Google Pokemon ROMs, and you can play them on the website, so you don't even have to download anything.
Pokemon
really
randomizers are really crazy. Like you start the game and you immediately face like level 50 Blastoises and stuff, and you just get blown out.
It can be fun. I'll tell you what's fun: Dark Souls randomizers. Like, you could get a key to the door that's like the final boss, but what do you need that for at the start of the game? Or get a weapon that you can't use yet that's really good.
Yeah, no, you don't know. You only need like 30 levels to get the stats for it.
Well, what's crazy is you can get soft locked in those games when you use randomizers. So that's kind of, you can play 50 hours and then get soft locked because the key to that door you haven't found yet, and
It's on the other side.
no, and then what you do is you go back and get every single item that you can in the game because it has to be one of the items, right?
Mhm.
And it's 50% chance, or if you're 70% through the game, you got a 70% chance. And if you get every item and it doesn't show up, it's one of the items behind the locked door.
Oh, here's a question for you. Like, this is like real, like kind of deep Pokemon knowledge. Did you know that in Pokemon Blue and Red, there's a built-in way where you can actually soft lock the game because you're just a bad player? I think most people have not faced it, but it is
I think
possible
I've
to
seen
not.
this on YouTube before. Yeah.
It is possible to not progress further if you go into Safari Zone because you have to pay money to get into the Safari Zone and progress the story. But in Safari Zone, you only have a certain amount of steps. And if you take too many steps to get to where you need to be, you get kicked out and you have to pay money again. But there's only a limited amount of money in the game. So in theory, if you fought all the random trainers, and you wasted all your money trying to get through Safari Zone and you don't have any more, the game is over. And you literally can't finish the game anymore.
Let's go. And I'm sure that there were kids out there that like actually that happened to them, They, like,
I mean, you'd have to be pretty bad.
Wasted it all on something at every shop, and
Oh yeah, that's the more common thing is you fight all the trainers, then you go to a shop and spend all your money on Pokeballs, potions, whatever, and you don't have any money anymore to go into the Safari Zone.
yeah, exactly. And you lose the first time you go in there, and then suddenly you're locked out. That's crazy.
Yep. And that's like that's about halfway into the game as well. So by that time, you probably already played for 5-6 hours.
Well, while we're
It's
talking
just-
about Pokemon, I watched a really interesting video the other day about the most unluckiest moments in Pokemon ever. And it was actually so crazy to see this, because every Pokemon game, like, people have gone into the files of the game and worked out like the success rate and fail rates of different things. So like some moves will have like a 0.001% chance of failing. Like it hits 100 times, but there's this like chance of it not happening. And then like everyone in the speedrunning community will be aware of it. So it like won't happen. And they'll be like, oh, I got the thing. And then there's like a few clips where it like happens twice in a row or something.
The Gen 1 miss, yeah. It's like I think it only happens in Generation 1 where even 100% accuracy moves have a 1 in 255 chance of missing. So because the way the numbers are calculated
was in what you mentioned before, Beliskner, was in the Safari Zone, and it was a clip of someone in the Safari Zone, and I think they walked for like a minute 30 without seeing a single Pokemon, and they were walking on the grass, and it, like statistically that was like the most unluckiest thing to ever happen, and it was like 1 in trillions or something. And like 30 seconds into it happening, the guy's like, this is crazy, like this shouldn't be happening. I know he's a math professor or something. He's like, this is impossible.
There's one really cool clip also in Safari Zone where someone hits a shiny, which is like 1 in 4,000 something. Then he gets a turn frame encounter where he just turns on the same tile and immediately gets another encounter, which is a 1% chance, and then gets a Kangaskhan, which is also a 1% chance. Which is like, that like sequence of events was also like 1 in like whatever 50 trillion or something.
It's only happened once. That's insane.
Yeah,
that's cool. Like even in the new Pokemon games, there's things out there that happen. I've seen this guy on Twitch. He's been streaming for every day for like a year and a half, just shiny hunting, and he like finally got the shiny, and it's like after 15,000 attempts or something, which is ridiculous, you know. That's the cool thing about video games, though. If they make like something possible, people will grind it.
Yeah.
They put in like, here's the rarest item in the game. It's got a 1 in a million drop rate. You know, there'll be a community that are out there grinding it. Like when Demon Souls first came out on PS5, Bluepoint added something to the game that wasn't in the original game. So the Souls community all got together as a community, and everyone tried to work out what this was. Everyone hit every single wall and done everything, and you know, it was weeks, and no one could work it out. And they added this one thing in the game called, I forget what it was called, but it flipped the world upside down, basically, and you could go and do it back to front. And someone was playing one day, and he hit a box that didn't do anything in the game, but it was just like an item that you could destroy. And the box gave him a coin. And it was an item he'd never seen before. And he showed the community, and everyone went crazy and realized that this coin was from this inverted mode. So suddenly everyone started playing the game inverted, hitting every single item, looking for more coins. And within a week, 4 coins got found. And there's 5 worlds. So everyone assumed like the last coin would be from this last world. So then everyone was in there grinding this thing. And eventually like it got found, and there was a locked door that you were able to unlock once you had all the 5 coins, and it gave you the armor of one of the bosses in the game that no one had ever seen before. It was really cool the way that this game had been completed in 2009, and in 2020 they added a secret that had millions of people chasing this thing for a couple of weeks. And you know, that's what I love about video games. Yeah, I even made a YouTube video about this event, and it got like 2,000 views in a matter of like 4 hours. And then when I woke up, the mystery had been solved, so no one was interested in my video anymore.
So that's one of the only game franchises I feel like that still understands secrets is Elden Ring and Dark Souls, and those people, because they understand how satisfying it is to like be like, you know, not know what to do. Like, I don't know, like that's really appealing when you find something and you're like, what is this? What do I do with this? I don't know. That's intriguing. Like, you know, that creates that hype. And I just remember, like, you'll never get that same feeling that we had when we were in the schoolyard as kids, being like, "Did you find this secret in Castlevania? Did you find this secret in that? Did you know you could do that? You could do like that stuff's really cool, man." And the internet kind of ruined all that. So it's hard to find, surprise people in that way. But yeah, Elden Ring and Dark Souls, they understand the satisfaction of discovery, and when you explore in their games, like they really do.
My moment for me was, as a kid, my favorite game was Dark Cloud, and like I remember getting stuck at a point with my brother. We both got stuck, and it was literally like 2 years later until we worked out what to do. And then once we worked out what to do, we then grinded through the rest of the game and finished it. And it was like such a cool moment because we played, like, because we got stuck. We were kids. We just assumed that was it. I don't know. Like I just kept restarting the game and getting up to that point again, and feeling like I'd done something wrong. I probably replayed the game 15 times up to that point and just had no idea what to do. And yeah, like once that was solved, it was, if you played it, it was, you had to connect water in the second town to get the town working again. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, just didn't work that out as a kid. It told you in the cutscenes, but as a little kid, you just press X and
you can screw yourself in the old game. If you're playing an old RPG or something, they could be like, "No, you have to go to the village to the west and talk to Frank." But if you skip that line and that conversation ended, you just would be like, "Well, what do we do now?" And then you talk to the guy again, and he goes, "Good luck." And you're like, "Good luck with what, motherfucker? What do I do?" And then you literally just wandering around, playing the game for hours, killing every monster, doing the dungeons over again, talking to everything until you find, like, Frank is, the guy who's, milking the cow in the back of the field. And you talk to him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, you got to go get this thing." You're like, oh my God. You get stuck for weeks because you skipped that one little line. So, yeah, it's definitely different.
Worse is when they make you do a game mechanic that isn't normal in the game. It's like something different that you can only do in one part of the game, and it doesn't make sense unless you've seen it done or you read about it or something.
Mm.
Yeah, there's some secrets you're just not going to figure out.
That was kind of me, like in the early 2000s with the Ratchet & Clank games. I also spent months trying to get all the skill points. Because the descriptions on those were always very vague. Some of them you would just get by just playing, and you had no idea what you just did, what you got a skill point for. But some are so specific. Even if you read a description on GameFAQs or whatever, there wouldn't be a video. You would be lucky if there was like one screenshot or something. But they would write like a couple sentences on what to do, and even that wasn't really enough to understand what was going on. And it took an eternity for me to get all the skill points on Ratchet & Clank 2 the first time, because I just didn't know what to do for some of them.
Think about, right? Because today, like, for a fact that you can just go on YouTube and look up the answer.
Yeah.
It isn't satisfying, but it's also not fun to just sit there and be stuck for hours. So at what point do you go, all right, I'm not having fun anymore, it's time to look something up on YouTube?
You had to get these bad boys.
Yeah.
I love it in that protected region.
Every Game Shark code, dude. Over 400 PlayStation. That's 6,000 codes, bros. Yeah, man. You have to get like stuff like that. Old strategy guides and stuff like that. It's the only way to figure it out. Dude, I remember Resident Evil games being so cryptic. Like, I had to get the strategy guides. I couldn't figure it out. Like, I would just, like you said, like there was not enough resources, not enough time. I would die. I didn't know what to do. It was like stressing me out. So,
last game I did it for was Tears of the Kingdom, and it was with all the shrines. And I had general rule, like if I got to a point where suddenly I'm died and I'm just pissed off at the game, that's when I go to YouTube and look up how to do the shrine. And I probably did that for 5 or 6 shrines, and there's like 150 of them in the game. Fun fact for all you podcast watchers, the video series that I looked up on YouTube just so happened to have been Martin's, who was a guest on our podcast, because he did a video of every single shrine solution, and it was his videos that I watched. So small world, right? Before I knew him, he came on the podcast, and I'm like, send me a YouTube channel. And I'm like, I've watched this channel before.
That's awesome. Thank you, good sir, for the hard work.
Yeah.
God bless.
And he said the same thing. He's like, I just look up someone else's guide and then film myself doing it, and made the video for all of them. So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Just got to make the best one. Doesn't have to be the
you
first
just
one.
have- no, you
Or
don't
the
have to
first
make
one.
the best one. You just
The
have
first
to make
one's good, but the most clear one. And the shortest one.
clear and shortest. None of this intro bullshit. Straight
Yep.
to the point.
If I'm looking up
it's
where
easy
something
for
is and it's
3
10
minutes
minutes,
and the hard parts at the end, skip that. Tell people that you're skipping the easy part and you're going straight to the hard part because they can do the easy part.
That's what I did with a lot of my pinball tutorials. I used to do tutorials for getting all the trophies in that Zen Pinball 2 and Marvel Pinball.
Mhm.
And those videos are almost all of them are like 2 minutes, maybe. And I would just put like text on the screen explaining
Mhm.
exactly what the shots I actually doing in the game. Because it's like kind of the same as with Ratchet and Clank, where a lot of the descriptions are kind of cryptic. And you unless you go into the in-game guide and scroll through the 40 pages or whatever of the table guide, you just have no idea what to do.
Especially pinball too, because it could be like, you got to hit this thing, and then you got to hit this thing over here. But if you don't hit this thing here won't go off, and then you got to go around this loop 3 times and hit these 3 things over here, and you could be getting a great score, but you've just missed one little thing, and it makes no sense.
Yeah, usually it was just a specific sequence of shots that you had to hit, sometimes with a time limit, and it's just it just doesn't take very long. It's just skill dependent. And knowledge dependent, of course.
Yeah, like all things.
Yeah.
And practice. And, if you do anything long enough, you're going to get good at it.
Yeah, pinball, I was, especially the old tables, like you said, it was pretty cryptic on knowing what to do. Like I was always blown away by the people that actually knew what to do on certain games. Like I remember like the Star Trek pinball game. I like that one, obviously, because I'm a nerd, going back to that. And, they'd have all these missions, and they'd be like, start mission. And I'd be like, all right. Just whack everything. I don't know what the hell that means, man. I have no idea. But it'd be like, no, you have to hit this 3 times. Like you said, you have to go put the ball here, do this, or all that other stuff. Stuff's cool.
Yeah, what I learned playing those games, if it's blinking, that's where you have to hit.
Yeah. Basically. Well, you want to light everything up.
Yeah.
My main experience with pinball was Windows pinball.
Yeah, which is good stuff. That would be like my ultimate. If I had like all the space and money thing, I would love to collect pinball. I fucking love pinball, dude. Like actual tabletop pinball. Oh my god, hell yeah! To get like Adam's Family machine, a Star Trek machine. Oh man, there'd be quite a few of those that I want.
I got a mate that does it. He's got like 80 at this point.
It's really expensive hobby, dude, because those things break all the time, man. You gotta
tell you what he did, which is kind of cool. He has a Airbnb house, and it's like called the Pinball Gaming House, and you rent it out, and it's got like 30 pinball machines in there, and it's got like old game consoles with retro games, and you rent it out for for the weekend. It's more expensive than a usual Airbnb, but it's not like crazy expensive. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's worth the money, though. Like if I was staying somewhere with a bunch of my friends and they had a pinball house, I'd be like, hell yeah. Although I'd be afraid we wouldn't leave the house for whatever reason we were there. It's like,
I've seen a similar thing in Maine, just not too far from you, Joe, and it's like a gaming house that you can rent out on Airbnb. And I looked it up, and it's like a real thing, and it's just like consoles and mainly just like arcade machines. And the house is full of like hundreds of them, and there's consoles and different things like that. And I think it was like
do you have to put quarters in though?
No, you get them all. I think it was like $600 a night or something, and you've also got to put down quite an expensive bond. But it didn't seem like a ridiculous price. It seemed like something that if you got a group of mates, you could rent that out for the weekend. That would be so much fun.
Hell yeah. So what are you saying? What we're doing?
No, we might call it. Beliskner, it's always good to have you on here, man. As you said in your PM to me, I need to make my regular season appearance.
Yep. I'm gonna be back for season 4 in like half a year or whatever it's gonna be.
Heck yeah.
Stay tuned for that, guys. It's always good to see Beliskner. Hopefully
Always good to be on.
Sneak you on here before season 4.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do another PS3 exclusive episode with some people that collected PS3 sets, so we might sneak you on there for that.
Sure.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It's good stuff. Sorry I hijacked half the episode and talked about a bunch of random crap.
I
That's
think
fine.
we're
I'll
used to that
forgive
at this point.
Yeah, I know. Trying to rein it
We're not
in.
going to change the name of the podcast. You guys know what you're getting. Me and Joe talking crap and
Pretty much.
a lot of fun. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. We will see you guys on Thursday or Friday, wherever you are in the world, and have a good one. Peace.
Hey, everybody.
You found